after a mixed day. The Dow dropped 269 points. The Nasdaq surged up 301. In the NBA playoffs, the top seed in the East, Cleveland, knocked out.
The Indiana Pacers have upset the Cleveland Cavaliers, winning Game 5 114-105 to win the series 4-1. The Pacers advance to the Eastern Conference Finals for the second straight season and await the winner of the Knicks and Celtics series.
As Fox's Tony Genualdo, the West's top seed Oklahoma City beat Denver 112-105. The Thunder take a 3-2 series lead. In the NHL playoffs, Dallas beat Winnipeg 3-1, giving the Stars a 3-1 series lead over the Jets. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Good morning. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM News Time is 6:05. I'm Megan Stone with your news update, brought to you by Clinton Tractor, the leader in service. Visit clintontractor.net. Right now it is 61 degrees under cloudy skies. Your full WIBX Weather Center forecast is coming up next. 3 former corrections officers at the Marcy Correctional Facility have rejected the plea deals in connection with their alleged roles in the beating death of inmate Robert Brooks back in December. Anthony Farina, Nicholas Kiefer, and David Kingsley appeared in Oneida County Court yesterday, declining the offers. Onondaga County District Attorney William Fitzpatrick recommended a maximum of 18 years to those who accepted the deal. Farina and Kingsley face second-degree murder charges, while Kiefer faces a gang assault charge. The officers will next appear in court on June 3rd and face 25 years to life behind bars if convicted. 2 Syracuse women were arrested on grand larceny charges. New Hartford police say the women allegedly conducted multiple thefts in October of last year. Police allege 20-year-old Janiyah Dixon and 21-year-old Zariah Felder stole over $5,300 in merchandise from Ulta, Victoria's Secret, and Dick's Sporting Goods between October 14th and October 21st. Both Dixon and Felder were in the custody of other districts for unrelated charges when they were brought to New Hartford on Monday. Both were charged with 3 counts of grand larceny in the 4th degree, which is a felony, and a count of petty larceny. They were remanded after arraignment. A West Sand Lake man is in stable condition after needing to be airlifted to a hospital following a crash in Frankfort. Town of Frankfort police say 35-year-old Brandon Borowick had suffered a medical emergency while behind the wheel. His car then veered from the road, drove down an embankment and into a wooded area where his car struck a tree. Borowick reportedly suffered serious injuries but has since been listed in stable condition. And a memorial that will honor the victims of the 2022 Tops mass shooting has reached a vital step. The Buffalo Common Council approved the transfer of several parcels of land on the corner of Jefferson and Best Street, where a memorial honoring 10 black people killed in the racially motivated shooting will be built. Buffalo leadership gathered at City Hall to acknowledge the occasion and spoke of the importance of preserving the memory of the victims. Groundbreaking on the $15 million project is scheduled for sometime in 2026. Your WIBX News Time is 6:07. Here is your full weather forecast.
We'll keep the rain showers in the forecast. Some low clouds, fog around in spots this morning, and that threat for showers will continue to go up as we go through this morning into the afternoon. Otherwise, mainly cloudy. There will be some hours of dry weather, 70. Mainly cloudy tonight, 60, 50s to the north country, and a few showers, maybe an afternoon thunderstorm tomorrow. Warm, upper 70s. I'm meteorologist Ray Stijik at the Weather Channel on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Right now, it's 61 degrees and cloudy. Let's take a look at sports. Sports brought to you by the IBEW 43 Local Sports Desk. The NFL will play 7 international games this upcoming season. The league unveiled most of those matchups Tuesday. The Minnesota Vikings will play in 2 different countries in back-to-back weeks, facing the Pittsburgh Steelers in Dublin in Week 4, and then the Cleveland Browns in London in Week 5. Week 6, we will see the Denver Broncos play the New York Jets in London, while the Los Angeles Rams will take on the Jaguars in London for Week 7. Berlin will host the Colts and the Falcons in Week 10, and Madrid will see the Dolphins take on the Commanders in Week 11. The Los Angeles Chargers opponent for Sao Paulo game in Week 1 will be revealed revealed today. The NBA playoff will roll on. The Pacers locked up their spot in the Eastern Conference Finals with a 114-105 win over the Cavs in Game 5. In other action, the Thunder stormed back late to defeat the Nuggets 112-105 to take a 3-2 series lead. The action rolls on with a pair of Game 5s tonight in the East. The Knicks are aiming to close out their series with the win over the defending champion Celtics. If they do, it'll be the first time in 20 years they have gone to the next round. In the West, the Timberwolves will look to clinch a spot in the Western Conference Finals for a second straight season when they host the Warriors. The Stars are one win away from going to the Western Conference Finals. Dallas took down the Jets to take a 3-1 lead in its best-of-7 second-round series. Game 5 is tomorrow night. There are 2 games on tonight's schedule. Maple Leafs hosting the Panthers. Vegas looking to avoid elimination when it hosts Edmonton. Meanwhile, the Hurricanes hope to knock out the Capitals when they visit Washington for Game 5 tomorrow. The Giants could be looking to add to their receiving core, according to the New York Post. The G-men are meeting with veteran wideout Gabe Davis today. Davis was cut by the Jaguars last week. The Jets, they're moving on from a fan favorite. They released veteran punter Thomas Morstead yesterday. In other news, the Jets will be taking on the Denver Broncos in London on October 12th. The Mets have taken on the first 2 games in their series against the Pirates after picking up a 2-1 victory in Queens. Brett Beatty went 2 for 3 in the dish with a go-ahead solo homer in the bottom of the 7th. New York leads the NL East after winning the 3 straight and will look to sweep Pittsburgh in tonight's series finale. And the Yankees were walked off by the Mariners 2-1 in 11 innings from Seattle. Tim Hill suffered the loss after allowing the game-winning run. New York still leads the AL East. They look to capture the rubber match in its series this afternoon. Your WIBX news time is 6:11 right now. It is 61 degrees under cloudy skies. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
First News with Keeler in the morning.
They always have great conversation.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
What do you think on workplace incivility? And I think politics has played a big role in this.
Yeah, you hear a lot of stories about this. I mean, maybe that's what happened in Amazon, as you said. Maybe they were talking politics. But
so, what a time when you're thinking about this topic, and here we are. Police are looking for a man who stabbed another man during an early morning shift in Frankfurt at an Amazon facility.
That's about as uncivil as you can get.
Obviously, there must have been some sort of a dispute or something was going on there. I kind of wonder what that, and maybe we will find out, but police are still looking for the man right now. On the line right now is a workplace expert who trains leaders from coast to coast. Heather Lyle is with us right now. Heather, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
You'd have a blast training us.
And why is that?
Well, you'd be taking. We would bring you new things that you haven't dealt with before, right? And
wow. I mean, I just wrote a book, and maybe y'all will give me new content, right?
So what is the? You just wrote the book, so it's not out yet.
June 10th. June 10th is when it comes out.
All right. What's the name of the book?
The book is called Hold the Pineapple, Please, Purposeful Conversations That Build Better Teams, Bottom Lines of Banana Splits.
Okay.
And yes, there's a story behind the banana split thing, but we don't have to talk about that now.
All right. Well, listen, I always thought pineapple was an Italian symbol for peace and welcome.
It is.
Yeah. So that kind of fits right
absolutely.
in. Okay. What? All right. Shaming, gaslighting, micromanaging, talking politics. This can all be bad today.
It can be. It absolutely can be. You know, and what is even worse is when people don't have conversations together, eyeball to eyeball. It's, you know, texting or snapping or snarky comments through email and that kind of thing. What I find is that when people don't have the hard conversations, eyeball to eyeball, that's where things get lost. And so that's really something that I preach a lot, is just we've got to be able to teach people how to have conversations and know who these people, you know, take a minute to think about who is the person that you're talking to and how do I best message to them that will actually stick with them, you know, and most people don't do that. They don't take a beat to do that. So,
well, you listen. You saw the story that or you heard while you were waiting.
Yeah.
At a local Amazon facility where, and this was bad. So we don't know the cause.
So unfortunate.
But stabbed in the face. The person was stabbed multiple times in the face. So it's really
oh my gosh.
Potentially really bad. But you don't know today. It could be in the workplace. So you get all of that, right? You get your it could be just a personal conflict with a person. You don't like the person, but in addition to that, you get this one is flirting with this one, or this one slept with this one's wife or girlfriend. Yeah. I mean, that adds a whole new dimension, and people get, I think, they get furious, and who knows what happens next.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, what I see for employers tend to go off the rails. They don't set the expectations up front for how we're going to have conflict, resolution. Yeah. And so training your people so they understand what the process is for how to have these conversations with people, within the workplace. How do you talk to the boss that it may be a bully? How do you talk to the coworker who is just wearing you out? And bringing in HR to be able to help you with those conversations as well, too. That's why they're there.
You think, years ago, you used to be able to, and maybe this is an example of things aren't the way they used to be and probably never were. Yeah. Like, we look back at things like, boy, it used to be, people lived much longer years ago. Well, that's not true. People got along better years ago. Well, that might be true. But I do think that sometimes you think about the old days, and it was dealt with. You go to your boss, and your boss deals with it. Today, nothing can happen without HR.
Yeah, no, and because I think a large part of that is that so many struggle with how to have the conversations in the first place. How do you communicate with others that don't communicate the way that you do? And there's things that you can do about that. I mean, gosh, I teach and train on that all the time. There's books to read, podcasts to listen to, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, taking just a minute, and I think so often we respond so quickly without actually hearing and listening to what's really going on, and we make assumptions. And when you assume, you lose, right? You lose on a relationship, you lose your temper, you lose all of it. And so taking just a minute to go, okay, what's really happening here, and how do I best respond to this versus just immediate action that you're probably going to regret later.
Yeah. I'm assuming you would recommend making sure that if people work for a corporation or a bigger company, that you take the time to read the handbook.
Yeah, read the not only read the handbook, but actually have conversations about that, like what actually is expected. I mean, how many times, and I'm sure you've done this or you've heard people who've done it, it's like you've read the handbook, you check the box online, and you move on to the next thing, and nobody really reads it. So are we actually taking the time to talk about the things that really matter? And that's a big piece of this as well, too. So, well, that I'm a big believer.
The handbook never gets used until they're trying to get rid of you. Like, you'll never hear about the handbook until all of a sudden you get a memo that says you didn't follow A, B, and C in the handbook, and you're like, what handbook? I forgot we even had a handbook.
Yeah, but there was a handbook.
Yeah, that's a warning sign. Trouble's on the way, so.
Yeah. And so often that's the case. But again, taking the time to actually have the conversations and ask the questions, that's the piece that I feel like is lost. It's just so easy for people to send the text, and we dehumanize things when we do that. And so taking a minute to actually consider where the other person might be coming from is a big piece of it.
All right. Great stuff. We'll be looking for your book when it comes out. Maybe we'll talk to you again.
Oh, perfect. All right, thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Heather Lyle is the workplace expert. Do you agree? I mean, it's to the point now where no problem can be solved at the boss level anymore. And if you're in a small company, you don't feel that. But if you work for a big company, everything goes to HR.
I saw that in police work, just like every other profession, goes through a lot of evolutions, a lot of changes. But I remember when I first came on, if you screwed up, the boss called you in, they chewed you out, called you everything in the book, and you went back out, and you did not do that again. And it changed over the years, where it was the boss would call you in and they'd say, what a great job you were doing. By the way, here's your counseling memo on what you did wrong. And so you got talked to much nicer, but in the end, you got, maybe something in your file where before you didn't have it.
I think there was an SNL bit over the weekend that they call it the sandwich. So something good in the beginning, something good on the end, and in between is the criticism.
Correct.
Right? So, I mean, they kind of mocked it a little bit, but that is, you know, when you start out in that meeting, it's like the way you communicate with your audience is so wonderful. However, you know you're in.
Exactly.
You know, not that I've
and
ever
at the
been there.
end, they tell you how great you are.
And then they tell you how great you are, yeah.
First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
It's hard to know what to do when you lose a loved one. You need someone you can trust to help you navigate all the options. Mohawk Valley Monuments has been providing comfort and delivering quality memorials in our community for over 95 years. Mohawk Valley Monuments has experience with all the local cemeteries, from simple grave markings to intricate family mausoleums. For personalized service, call us today at 315-724-7629 or visit us at mohawkvalleymonuments.com.
Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company is excited to announce the return of the 24th annual Adirondack Paddle Fest and Gear Expo. This highly anticipated event will return to Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company on Route 28 in Old Forge, May 16th through the 18th. Join us for sales on outdoor gear, clothing, and boats. We'll have food, craft beer, music, kids' activities, and more. Shop over 1,000 canoes, kayaks, and SUPs from the leading manufacturers and hundreds of accessories to choose from. Representatives and vendors will be on hand to help you choose what is best for your paddling needs. Gear up for all your outdoor adventures with discounts on outdoor gear, footwear, and clothing for the whole family. Shop your favorite brands and get great deals this weekend only at Patagonia, Teva, North Face, MSR, and more. Follow Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company on Facebook and Instagram for updates or for all your local outdoor needs.
Hi, this is Ray Durso of the Genesis Group. If you're interested in keeping up with events and news in the Mohawk Valley region, I have the show for you. It's called This Week in the Mohawk Valley, and it airs every Sunday on WIBX. Join us as we talk with area business leaders, elected officials, law enforcement, educators, and more. Don't miss This Week in the Mohawk Valley every Sunday at 9 a.m. on WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM.
Keeler in the morning, live local news updates throughout your workday.
I feel smarter when I listen.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Hey, everybody in upstate New York. I don't know where in upstate New York, but thanks for listening to the Keeler Show. Never met this man. Don't know why I'm telling everybody to listen, but thank you very much. By the way, this is Larry David from Curb Your Enthusiasm. I have nothing else really to say to you, but I thank you for listening to me tell you to listen to this man, Bill Keeler, on WIBX.
WIBX.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
I don't know if you recall this story about a murderer hiding out, living like no one ever knew. Living out, hiding out in Little Falls, right down the thruway from us. The book is called A Second Shot. It's written by Dr. Michael Weisberg, and he is on the line right now. Doc, good morning. Thanks so much for coming on.
Good morning, Bill, and thank you so much for having me on your show.
So let's, the book is called A Second Shot, The Pursuit of Justice in Maryland's Oldest Cold Case Murder, which brings us to our area in Little Falls. Let's start with the background on the story and obviously on the book.
Okay, well, the Little Falls connection comes in where Larry Smith, who is the man accused of murder, was born in Little Falls and was there till he was 7 and adopted, and eventually moved down to Maryland with his adopted family and his 3 siblings who were adopted along with him. Once the crime had occurred in 1971, the murder of a deputy sheriff, whose daughter 50 years later was my patient in Plano, Texas, and that's how I got involved in this case. She came to me and asked me to write a book about the solving of the murder of her father, because I had written 2 previous books that were novels that she and her husband both enjoyed. So I said, sure. Well, initially I was kind of skeptical because I'd never written a true crime book before, but then I said, sure, I'd do it. Now, as far as Larry Smith, he, after leaving Maryland in 1980, moved back to Little Falls. His adopted family name was Larry Becker, and he changed it back to Larry Smith when he moved back to Little Falls, married and had a family, 3 children there, and lived there for the remainder of the time until the present time.
So I seem to recall that they had discovered that he was basically just hiding out, unassuming. I mean, no one knew. They just thought he was just a regular guy.
You have to remember there were 50 years that went by, and no one even thought of him as a suspect. Everyone in Rockville, Maryland, and Montgomery County, Maryland, was focused in on 5 boys who, at the same night, were breaking into Coke machines at the country club where the murder occurred. And one of those boys was the one who had done other things that were against the law, and the police and everyone focused in on him. It's what we call tunnel vision in both medicine and in police work, where you find one suspect and zero in on them and forget about everyone else. But it wasn't until 3 female detectives reopened the case in 2021 and went through the different evidence that was in the case, including a reel-to-reel tape that had never been digitalized, in which they ended up getting the FBI to digitalize, that they found a conversation and interrogation with Larry Smith, at that time Larry Becker, where he named himself as being at the scene of the crime and got a couple of the important details right. In murder cases and police cases, they have what they call holdback.
Yeah.
Evidence is not released to the public. And the evidence that wasn't released to the public, one of them was that part of it was that there was a second shot, not just one shot, but 2 shots. The first shot hit the sheriff's flashlight. It was a dark, rainy night, and the sheriff's flashlight was knocked from his hand. And the second shot was the kill shot, which hit him in the back of the head and caused his demise 3 days later in the hospital. So he had, on this reel-to-reel tape, with the investigation with 3 law enforcement officers who were involved in the prison and who didn't know anything about the case itself, talked about the second shot and talked about the sheriff, the deputy sheriff, J.T. Hall, having a flashlight. And that's what led the 3 female detectives in 2021 to consider him a suspect and to go about trying to talk to him and eventually obtain a confession from him.
Wow. It does make you wonder, doesn't it? Where you could be living in a neighborhood, the people that you know, that you think you know, maybe you don't know. And Little Falls will be a really good place to hide out. Of course, having ties to there, I'm surprised that's where he went. It may have been better if he went to another community where he didn't have ties.
If you read the book, it's a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
As far as his guilt and whether or not he did this, what goes on. I also focus a lot on the family, the Philo Hall family, Philo, who were the ones that got me into the case. They were all in law enforcement. His son-in-law was a policeman. His nephews were police. They were all in law enforcement and how it affected them. But if you look at when they actually found him, was he really trying to hide out? I mean, he was on the internet. He was on Facebook. He had a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey for sale. The only thing he had really changed was his name. But everything else he was the same. He built a life for himself in Little Falls. He'd had a variety of jobs, including working as a security guard. As I mentioned, the man who was murdered, J.T. Hall, was working as a security guard at the Manor Country Club that night. He was also a nurse's aide and had really was a successful citizen. So there was really no reason, other than the fact that this reel-to-reel tape had been found, to suspect that anything could be going on with him.
What was the reason for killing the deputy?
That's no one knows for sure. Now, there was, in addition to the Coke machines being broken into that night, there was a robbery going on that night at a house on the Manor Country Club right across the golf course from the clubhouse. I've been there and I've walked the whole scene, the murder scene, and seen it. And you can see from that house, you can actually see the clubhouse. The people in the house had moved in 1 month before, and they were away that day. And someone broke into the house and was moving their possessions, stealing their possessions, and moving them across the dark, rainy golf course that night to the parking lot, which is where the deputy sheriff J.T. Hall was parked. And they were moving these possessions across there, and it was thought that he came upon them while he was patrolling the parking lot in the country club and said, "What's going on? What are you doing?" And then 2 shots rang out, one of which killed him.
Wow.
It could also be said that he wasn't supposed to be the patrolman on duty that night. That the one who was that 30 minutes before the shift started, the man who was supposed to be there that night called him and said he couldn't make it because of a family emergency. So that he switched and he took that shift, in which he was murdered.
Wow. Some of the reviews on this are really, really good. Talking about your background as both a scientist, as a doctor, and a storyteller adds depth to the book, offering a thoughtful reflection on justice and second chances beyond just a crime retelling. And then from the book review, twisting true crime that readers will never predict. It is quite an amazing story. What do you want for people who may not be familiar with this case? What do you want them to take away in this book?
I think several things. I think first and the family said it well, the Fowler family, if someone in your family is murdered or has something done to them, never give up hope that eventually the crime can be solved. Here, 50 years later, just a pair of fresh eyes was able to find that there was evidence and try someone for the case who 50 years before the name wasn't even known.
Yeah.
I think also I'd like to say kind of what you just said as far as this whole thing, this 3-year experience for me was such a roller coaster. It's a second shot because that's what drew the law enforcement detectives, the cold case detectives, to Larry Smith in the first place. But it's also a second shot for the family after all these years and never giving up and living with this to try to have the case of their father's murder solved. And finally, if you read the book, you'll find it was a second shot for me because in the middle of all this going on, I had a terrible health crisis. And I actually had a quadruple bypass surgery for my heart. So that kind of sidelined me, but that gave me my second shot at life.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing the similarity there, right? The second shot similarity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think the title tells a lot. And I also start the book out with what's called the butterfly effect. How a butterfly flapping its wings in Iowa can cause a typhoon or monsoon in Japan. How everything in life is interconnected. Mm-hmm. And I show how the only patient that I ever received as a referral from this one doctor was Carolyn Philo's mother. He and I overlapped our practice 14 years. She was the only patient I received. She was the wife of the man who was murdered. And then it turned out that because of that, his daughter became my patient, and she ended up being the one who asked me to write the book.
Wow.
And all these things happened because that one doctor in 14 years, for some reason, decided to send this one patient to me.
Yeah, wow. Really, really interesting. The book is A Second Shot, The Pursuit of Justice in Maryland's Oldest Cold Case Murder. And in parentheses, you should add, includes an amazing story in Little Falls, New York. Pretty wild. So,
absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Doctor, for coming on. And the book,
I really appreciate you having me. I really appreciate you having me on.
I'm assuming it's available wherever you get your books, all over the place.
Exactly. It's published by Intelligentsia Books. It's available, of course, on Amazon as well as in bookstores. And it has gone on sale this week.
All right. Beautiful. All right, Mike, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Again, thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure.
Pretty wild, right? That's a pretty cool connection. There's another story out there. I saw in another documentary where a murder had occurred, and it also had ties to Little Falls. What is it about Little Falls? There was a terrible jeweler murder that occurred back in I believe it would have been the 1980s in Little Falls. What is it about Little Falls?
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone with your news update brought to you by the new Destination Kia of Utica, Commercial Drive, Yorkville. 3 former corrections officers at the Marcy Correctional Facility have rejected the plea deals in connection with their alleged roles in the beating death of inmate Robert Brooks back in December. Anthony Farina, Nicholas Kiefer, and David Kingsley appeared in Oneida County Court yesterday, declining the offers. Onondaga County District Attorney William Fitzpatrick recommended a maximum of 18 years to those who accepted the deal. Farina and Kingsley face second-degree murder charges, while Kiefer faces a gang assault charge. The officers will next appear in court on June 3rd, and they face 25 years to life behind bars if convicted. One person is dead and another critically injured following a home explosion in Hamburg Monday evening. 78-year-old John Pease is at the hospital in critical condition, while his wife, 78-year-old Jolene Pease, died in the explosion. First responders arriving to the home described the scene as a catastrophic explosion, while neighbors referred to it as a fireworks show times 30. An investigation into the explosion is ongoing. Pete Rose and shoeless Joe Jackson are being removed from MLB's banned list. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred stated the punishment for banned individuals ends upon their deaths. Their removal from the list makes them eligible to be elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. Both Rose and Jackson participated in gambling controversies. Rose bet on games while he was the manager of the Cincinnati Reds. Jackson participated in the infamous Black Sox scandal from the 1919 World Series. And New York City is being ordered to turn over control of Rikers Island to an outside manager. Federal Judge Laura Swain's ruling says that the manager will support remediation of the ongoing violations of the constitutional rights of people in custody. Judge Swain found the city in contempt last November for failing to stop violence and brutality at the troubled jail. The Legal Aid Society is calling Swain's ruling historic. Mayor Eric Adams says the city will follow the rules to improve conditions at Rikers. The judge imposed an August 29th deadline for the parties of the case to offer recommendations for who should take over as outside manager. Your WIBX Weather Center forecast is next. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
We'll keep the rain showers in the forecast. Some low clouds, fog around in spots this morning, and that threat for showers will continue to go up as we go through this morning into the afternoon. Otherwise, mainly cloudy. There will be some hours of dry weather, 70. Mainly cloudy tonight, 60, 50s to the north country, and a few showers, maybe an afternoon thunderstorm tomorrow. Warm, upper 70s. I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic at the Weather Channel on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Now through May 31st, get up to $160 back by mail on a Firestone prepaid MasterCard. Get up to $80 when you buy a set of 4 eligible Firestone tires. Get up to an additional $80 when you make an eligible tire purchase with your CFNA credit card. Subject to credit approval, restrictions apply. See Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com or firestonerewards.com for details.
The Memorial Day sale is on at Mattress Express. No one in New York State has all the brands we have. Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, Sealy, Purple, Puffy, the Smart Bed by Instant Comfort, Posh and Lavish. And now we have added Simmons Beauty Rest Black, Serta, and Avocado. Hurry.
We're the power and power equipment. White's Farm Supply.
At Kubota, we want to help you deliver a job done right. That's why we want you to know that new Kubota inventory is arriving daily. You have work to do. We have the reliable, durable, and versatile lineup to help you do it. Visit us at whitesfarmsupply.com.
We're the power and power equipment. White's Farm Supply.
Not everyone who handles your personal information is as careful as you are, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the United States. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock will monitor hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. And if your identity's stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save 40% your first year with my name, Clay, as your promo code at LifeLock.com. LifeLock. For the threats you can't control, terms apply.
Celebrate AmeriQ Credit Union's 75th anniversary with an extra 0.75% off your auto and rec loans. Apply today at ameriq.org/loan sale.
Every once in a while, something that sounds too good to be true is actually in fact true. How would you like up to $2,000 of free windows? When I say $2,000 of free windows, I mean $2,000 of free windows. No gimmicks or games. You don't have to buy $2,000 to get $2,000 free. You just get $2,000 of free windows through Patriot Home Solutions and NYSERDA. Of course, some restrictions apply, but none of the restrictions are income-based. And you don't have to sit through a long, drawn-out sales presentation. Give Patriot a call at 315-401-0440, and they can quickly tell you over the phone if you qualify or how you can get qualified. That's 315-401-0440. These aren't any windows. They're high-quality, custom-fitted windows designed to save energy and keep the cold air out all winter. Your window solution is Patriot Home Solutions. Online at patriothomesolutions.com.
Celebrate AmeriQ Credit Union's 75th anniversary with an extra 0.75% off your new or used auto, motorcycle, boat, or recreational vehicle loan. Take the scenic route with your car or bike. Spend an extra weekend in the RV. Hit the water one more time with the jet ski or boat. And enjoy 0.75% off for our 75th. AmeriQ and you. Let's connect. Visit ameriq.org/loan sale to apply. Membership eligibility is required. Insured by NCUA.
Real talk.
This is Bill Keeler.
It's Brian Kilmeade. Hey, girl. Jimmy Fallon in the house.
Sean Hannity.
This is Guy Benson. News you can trust. This is WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
On the line right now, Dr. Kent Hall. Doc is the former, of course, formerly with MVHS, now retired, and just recently spent some time doing some photography, Doc.
Yeah, I was actually with a group around Syracuse. So we were going around Green Lake State Park and stuff. It was a great time. Fantastic photographers. Just so, you know.
The things that you can get, especially when you're near water, we received Dave Olney, actually, who will be is now the police chief in Boonville, who will be a guest host on Friday. Dave said, you ought to see this video of an eagle coming in and catching a fish at the Sequoia Creek. We posted that, and it just took off. It was so amazing to see, and this was just picked up on that's the flood watch camera that they have over at the bridge at Sequoia Creek. The eagle swooped down, stood there for a second, then jumped in and came out with a fish. It was pretty cool to see. But I'm assuming when you're out in the wild and especially near water, you see a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, that's one of the neat things is, you know, I go out. Honestly, I just love going out and being outdoors, and, you know, that's just great and fun. So taking pictures is just like the icing on that cake. But yeah, seeing the wildlife. I mean, I've seen moose and I've seen, coyotes and stuff. It's great just to be out in the wild and being able to kind of relax and enjoy yourself.
I think we're being a little easy on the deer. I was driving in this morning, and all of a sudden, 2 deer just run right out in front of me, and there's a line of traffic that I'm in going in one way, and then the traffic coming towards us. Everybody stopped, and then we all started, because then now there's another one on the other side of the road that didn't. Now, you know that one's going to want to cross with the other 2 deer. These were kind of their young deer. And so now the deer goes and then stops. So we start to go and then stop because the deer looks like it wants to go again. And finally, the deer came across the road. We make it very easy for these deer. It's when you're going down the road 60 miles an hour and a deer jumps out. And it's probably because of the damage that can be caused to your own vehicle, or even to you in some cases, right? A deer can cause some real terrible accidents. Nonetheless, you could have caught that picture today as the cars were sitting there waiting for the deer to cross the highway. All right, Doc, I want to start. Steve Houck is in as a guest host this morning and has a question that is interesting that just came out of the Trump administration.
Morning, Dr. Hall. So I don't know if you've caught this over the last few days, but apparently there's going to be a new initiative regarding vaccines. They diverted some money, like $500 million, to develop a newer vaccine all-encompassing type flu vaccine. I don't know if you've had a chance to read that yet.
Yeah, so this is an initiative actually that's been going on for or has been talked about for a while, which is instead of having to reformulate the flu vaccine every year, is to see if we can get one that is not targeting the current antigens that are being targeted for the vaccine, but to target something that is more stable within the flu virus, and so can be used over and over again. And it's a good thought. I'm not enough of a virologist or immunologist to be able to say, what the issues are. I guess what I would say is, given the fact that it hasn't been done yet, it's not going to be an easy thing, because it's probably difficult to actually find something that has antigenic properties, so you can make an antibody for it, and is stable within the flu vaccine, or within the flu virus. But that's if it can be done, I think that would be great, because then obviously it makes getting the flu vaccine much more much easier to dispense. So.
Wasn't there I know there was talk about having one vaccine that would cover COVID and the flu each year, and that's kind of stalled a little bit as well.
Yeah, that's really just a matter of manufacturing something that can be put together, and they don't and in such a way that they wouldn't compete or would not degrade each other and stuff. So that's really more of a biochemical thing than it is a medical issue.
Yeah, and then I wanted to ask a question for somebody asking about these weight loss medicines that have become extremely popular, and how they're being used. First of all, one of the criticisms that you get from some physicians is that we're, as a public, we're using these to lose weight. You lose the weight you want to lose, and then you don't change habits and you gain the weight back. The other thing is, because these are relatively new, worry about the long-term health effects. What is your take? And then I have a part two to this one.
Yeah, so first of all, they are very effective in terms of controlling people's appetite and therefore losing weight. But whoever is concerned about it in terms of, are you actually doing the work of modifying your behavior so that it can be sustained. The other thing that is true about these medications as they're currently used is that once you're on them and you lose weight, if you go off them, you end up you tend to rebound and gain a lot of the weight back, if not all of it. And so it is right now the current recommendations are that once you're on them, then you will need to be on them for basically for the rest of your life. Yeah. And so it is also they are relatively new medications. So as with anything new, you don't know long-term effects. Although, these are probably going to be safe long-term because of the way that they act.
Okay. And then the one thing I'm hearing a lot of, and I'll add on to this question, is that there are people in the know, if you will, who are microdosing, and that is the big thing right now. Can you explain what that is and why it's beneficial, if it is beneficial?
Yeah, so microdosing is taking a small amount of a medication, and where you hear about it most is they're taking small amounts of psychedelics. So it's whether it's mushrooms or LSD or something like that, and it is instead of having the full-blown dissociative effect and hallucinogenic effect, it really kind of resets the neural circuitry within your brain, and we don't know a lot about it. There haven't been a lot of studies on what microdosing does in terms of long-term benefits and long-term risks. Yeah. But people who have done it, so anecdotally, people who people who have done it, and the case reports that have been written would indicate that it really does. It is a mood stabilizer, and so it can make you feel better, from whether it's depression or anxiety or things like that. But again, long term and real in depth studies just haven't been done yet.
Joe with a question. Joe Load actually with a question for Dr. Hall. Joe, you're on with Dr. Hall.
Hey, Doc. Here's my situation. I have like a quarter of a kidney left. Is there some of these drugs that you would steer away from due to that kidney issue, or?
Yeah. So first of all, Joe, I'm sorry about what's going on with your kidneys and your kidney function. Yes, there are certainly classes of medications. Probably the most important one is the nonsteroidal anti-inflammatories, so the ibuprofen or the naproxen. They are known to cause, as a side effect, to cause damage to the kidneys that in most cases is reversible. However, if you only have 25% kidney function and they take that out, then that obviously would be a big thing for you. So that is definitely a class that I would stay away from. There are certain diuretics that you also should stay away from because they can also be harmful to your kidney.
So my issue is with the decreased kidney function or with the having decreased kidney, I also have a very bad back, and I've been going to get pain management shots, in my back, which has been great, except for the doctor I was going to see for some reason can't handle workman's comp issues anymore. And besides Tylenol, Flexerol, and hydrocodones, do you got any other maybe remedies that would be all right for my kidney that would also relieve back pain? Because the Tylenol, I'll be honest with you, I take probably 12 a day, which is probably not good either. And then the Flexerol, and then, of course, hydrocodone, they give you 10 pills, and they tell you, hold on, that's all we're going to give you for a couple of months. And so that's every day I wake up in pain. Every night I go to bed in pain. And, without the shots, due to this doctor, I'm trying to find another doctor to give me shots. I just don't know what else to do,
Yeah, no, I can understand that. And certainly, just to reinforce the Tylenol thing, okay, you really should not be taking more than 4 grams of Tylenol a day. So if you're taking 12 and they're 500 milligram, then that's actually 6 grams, and that can actually cause problems with your liver. So you need to be very careful about that. There are other medications that may be beneficial to you. I guess what I would recommend is that once you find a doctor, there are other medications that don't necessarily impact the kidney that are metabolized in different ways that may be beneficial to you. But chronic back pain is the bane of existence of many people. So it can be very, very difficult. And it isn't just a medication thing. You also need to make sure that you're doing, appropriate exercises and, stretching and things like that, which can be obviously very difficult and very painful when you've got back pain on the one hand. But on the other hand, they actually also benefit you in terms of managing the pain. So it's really more of a holistic approach than just a medication approach for back pain.
Doc, there was I read somewhere there's a medicine that they are working on that they feel is better than the opioids. It eliminates the pain and it is not addictive. Although, isn't that what they told us about the opioids?
Yeah, I've been following that. I will admit I don't know a lot.
Well, I think it's early, and I don't think it's out yet.
Exactly right. It is. That's exactly what they said in the '90s about OxyContin was that it wasn't going to be addictive and stuff, and obviously that wasn't true.
Yeah, that wasn't true. And then Joe, just quickly before you go, your story is crazy. You didn't know you have a piece of one kidney left. But you had no idea your scenario. It's really an amazing story.
I really didn't find out until I was 40 years old that I was actually born with one kidney, and then 3 years ago, stage 3 kidney cancer to the one that I had, which, thank God for my Dr. Schwab at Roswell in Buffalo, because he pretty much, I still have kidney function, although, with old age and with minus parts of my kidney, I'm in the bathroom a lot. What are you going to do? At least it's still functioning.
Yeah. Interesting, right? I've never really checked to see if I have the right number of organs. I'm assuming I do. I think so far any of the testing that I've had done, but to find out at age 40 that you're minus one in the kidney department is a pretty crazy story. So, okay, Joe, good luck. I know that back pain can be just brutal.
Yeah, it's brutal. I'm not going to lie. I woke up this morning thinking, man, it just put me down,
Yeah, it's awful. All right, Joe, thanks, man.
Have a great day.
Good luck. Doc, one of the things that I will wrap with this, but just hearing what Joe is going through there, somebody's asking, triptan might work for back pain, TRIPTAN. I don't know, Joe. You might want to check that. And then, Doc, the one side effect that I think is not really talked about all that much when it comes to chronic back pain and chronic pain is the depression that comes along with it.
Yeah, that's very true, and that's why many people that are on that have chronic pain, whether it's chronic back pain or other pain elsewhere, will often be on antidepressants, and they actually do have an effect on the pain cycle, but it's really more about the fact that when you're in chronic pain, the effect on the neurotransmitters in your brain is such that it actually predisposes and causes depression in the majority of people that have it. So,
all right, Doc.
It is something that needs to be understood better, so that people don't think that this is just that it's because of them.
Dr. Kendall, as always, we appreciate the insight. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Have a great day, and please be safe.
Nope, you do the same.
Not everyone who handles your personal information is as careful as you are, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the United States. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock will monitor hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. And if your identity's stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save 40% your first year with my name, Clay, as your promo code at LifeLock.com. LifeLock. For the threats you can't control, terms apply.
Hi, folks. This is Rob Hilton. Your family is your greatest treasure. Is your estate plan ready to protect them when it matters most? At Hilton Estate and Elder Law, we understand the importance of getting it right. That's why we offer a free review of your current plan. Together, we'll assess it and provide honest feedback to ensure it truly works. No cost, no obligation, just confidence and peace of mind. Let's prepare for the future together. Schedule a free review today.
Hilton, you know the name, they know the law.
Mattress Express is proud to announce we have added Simmons Beauty Rest Black, Serta Eye Comfort, and Avocado, the big online brand, to our lineup in all of our stores. Go to mattressexpressny.com or call 1-800-NEW-BED.
Get pumped for summer. Add smart heat pump cooling and heating to your home. Call City Suburban today. 315-864-9734 or go online to citysuburban.com. That's citysuburban.com.
Now through May 31st, get up to $140 back by mail on a Bridgestone prepaid MasterCard. Get $70 when you buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires. Get an additional $70 when you make an eligible tire purchase with your CFNA credit card. Subject to credit approval, restrictions apply. See Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com or bridgestonerewards.com for details.
Each week we do Mohawk Valley Crime Stoppers Wanted Person of the Week. And this week, in different agencies, roll up each week. This week it's up to the Rome Police Department. And Scott Hogue on the line right now. Good morning. Let me get the right mic up here for you. I got you now. Okay. Each week we do a Wanted Person of the Week. Who is this week's Wanted Person?
This week, we're interested in locating
Aaron M. Brown. Date of birth of 8/10/1991. He's a 33-year-old white male, about 6'1", 160 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyes. Last known address out of Utica. The incident involves Aaron is wanted on 2 different bench warrants issued from the Rome City Court.
Okay.
Brown is showing several warrants with at least 5 other agencies and does not respond or appear for his court dates as required. Brown has no known addresses believed to be in Utica. The 2 bench warrants we have out of the city of Rome, one is for criminal possession, controlled substance in the 7th degree, which is a Class A misdemeanor, and he has a bench warrant for several traffic infractions for aggravated unlicensed operation. The other agencies have multiple charges on him as well. But we're looking for the assistance of the community to help us locate him and bring him to justice.
Okay, and this with Crime Stoppers, Mohawk Valley Crime Stoppers, an agency that I'm involved with, is really just a group of volunteers that facilitates an organization that allows people to call in a tip if you to make your community safer, and it's all completely anonymous. Sometimes there's a reward, a cash reward that's involved, but there's numbers. We'll put it all up in our story on our website.
From the Stanley Theater Studios, WIBX Utica, Rome, W295EI, WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
He's on his way to Qatar. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It's President Trump's second stop on a Middle East trip that he touts is bringing in more than $1 trillion in economic agreements with the U.S. and American companies.
Incredible opportunities are within reach for this region. If we can simply stop the aggression from a small group of pretty bad actors.
And the president said while in Saudi Arabia he wants to make a deal with Iran.
But for that to happen, it must stop sponsoring terror, halt its bloody proxy wars, and permanently and verifiably cease its pursuit of nuclear weapons. They cannot have a nuclear weapon.
The president also announcing the lifting of sanctions on Syria. And, of course, that comes with the hopes that the war-torn country can finally pursue a pathway toward peace, prosperity, and perhaps a new U.S. partnership.
That's Fox's Kevin Corke. The president met with Syria's interim leader who led the overthrow of the Assad regime last year. First, all the legal challenges to President Trump using the Alien Enemies Act to deport alleged gang members like the one sent to El Salvador in March. A federal judge says the president can invoke that rarely used 18th century law meant for wartime, as he calls the surge of illegal immigration an invasion. But 4 other federal judges ruled just the opposite, that the president was not justified. At Sean Diddy Combs' trial, singer Cassie Ventura will return to the witness stand, testifying at the rapper and music producer's federal sex trafficking trial.
Describing graphic details of her previous sex life with the rapper. Now telling jurors that she felt like she couldn't say no. She told jurors she was 19 when she met Diddy and signed with his record label. She said their relationship turned sexual when she was 21 and they were together for a decade. She's a key witness for prosecutors who accused Diddy of using fear and intimidation to coerce and traffic Cassie and other women into drug-fueled sexual parties.
That's Fox's CB Cotton outside the court in New York. America's listening to Fox News.
Don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by Big Wireless. There is a better way. Pure Talk, my sponsor, my wireless company, has a better offer. A brand new free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan for $35 a month. You get unlimited talk, unlimited text, 15 gigs of data, all on America's most dependable 5G network. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk for your free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan. Pure Talk, wireless by Americans for Americans.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-893-2288. 800-893-2288. 800-893-2288.
Well, we mentioned the Trump Alien Enemies Act rulings. There is another new legal challenge to the Trump administration. A group of Democrat-led states suing Homeland Security over new restrictions on funding.
New York Attorney General Letitia James says states have been told to divert law enforcement resources to support federal immigration enforcement and told to stop any program that benefits undocumented migrants or risk emergency and disaster funding. California Attorney General Rob Bonta said during a press conference this would impact billions of dollars for his state in transportation and Homeland Security grant funds.
Trump's attempt to condition transportation and Homeland Security grants on immigration enforcement is illegal. Period. Full stop.
In New York's case, $30 billion in FEMA public assistance funding would be impacted. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem testified before the Senate recently that a lot of the grant money states have been given has been misspent. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures have been down modestly the day after the Dow dropped 269 points, but the NASDAQ gained 301. Big baseball news. Two infamous players, Pete Rose and shoeless Joe Jackson, unbanned by Major League Baseball, making them eligible now for the Hall of Fame.
The all-time greats were banned by the league for gambling, but Manfred ruling that MLB's punishment of banned individuals ends upon their deaths. Rose is the game's all-time hits leader and was banned in 1989 after an investigation found he bet on games while managing the Cincinnati Reds. Jackson was involved in the infamous Black Sox scandal when he and 7 other White Sox were banned for fixing the 1919 World Series. Under the Hall of Fame's current rules, Rose or Jackson could be inducted at the earliest in 2028. Tony Genualdo, Fox News.
You referenced MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred there. In the NBA playoffs, the top seed in the East eliminated. Cleveland knocked out after a Game 5 loss in Indiana, 114-105. The number 1 seed in the West, Oklahoma City, beat Denver to take a 3-2 series lead. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Good morning. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM news time is 7:05. I'm Megan Stone with your news update brought to you by Adirondack Home Furniture. Currently 62 degrees and cloudy outside. Your full weather center forecast is coming up next. 3 former corrections officers at the Marcy Correctional Facility have rejected the plea deals in connection with their alleged roles in the beating death of inmate Robert Brooks back in December. Anthony Farina, Nicholas Kiefer, and David Kingsley appeared in Oneida County Court yesterday, declining the offers. Onondaga County District Attorney William Fitzpatrick recommended a maximum of 18 years to those who accepted the deal. Farina and Kingsley face second-degree murder charges while Kiefer faces a gang assault charge. The officers will next appear in court on June 3rd and face 25 years to life behind bars if convicted. A Utica man was arrested for allegedly assaulting his uncle with a beer bottle. Utica police say they were called to the 100 block of Harding Place for a domestic incident. Officers spoke with the victim who claimed he had been arguing with his nephew when it became heated and his nephew threw a beer bottle at him. The bottle struck above the eye and caused a large laceration. The victim was treated at Wynn Hospital. The suspect, identified as Ariel Pujols, was arrested and charged with second-degree assault and criminal possession of a weapon in the 4th degree. A 15-year-old girl was arrested on assault charges. According to Utica police, officers were called to the 1000 block of Bleecker Street for a reported stabbing. There, officers located a 15-year-old male victim suffering from a stab wound to his stomach. The juvenile was taken to Wynn Hospital and treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Police were able to develop a suspect and arrested a 15-year-old girl with help from the Juvenile Aid Unit. She was issued an appearance ticket on assault in the 2nd degree, which is returnable to Oneida County Family Court. Due to her age, though, her name will not be released. And a federal judge has denied Tops mass shooter Peyton Gendron's motion to dismiss his hate crime charge. Judge Lawrence Villardo states count 27, the hate crime of Gendron's charges, clearly delineates a discrete class of victims. The black people who were present, he says there were no ambiguity about the intended victims' identities. Gendron's defense team argued there had been a clearer identification of the individuals. The case goes back to federal court next week. Your WIBX news time is 7:07. Here is your full weather forecast.
We'll keep the rain showers in the forecast. Some low clouds, fog around in spots this morning, and that threat for showers will continue to go up as we go through this morning into the afternoon. Otherwise, mainly cloudy. There will be some hours of dry weather, 70. Mainly cloudy tonight, 60, 50s to the north country, and a few showers, maybe an afternoon thunderstorm tomorrow. Warm, upper 70s. I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic at the Weather Channel on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Currently 62 degrees and cloudy outside. Let's take a look at sports. Sports brought to you by the IBEW 43 local sports desk. The NFL will play 7 international games this upcoming season. The league unveiled most of those matchups yesterday. The Vikings play in 2 different countries in back-to-back weeks, facing the Steelers in Dublin in Week 4 and the Browns in London on Week 5. Week 6 will see the Broncos play the Jets in London, while the Rams will take on the Jaguars in London for Week 7. Berlin will host the Colts and the Falcons in Week 10. Madrid will see the Miami Dolphins take on the Commanders in Week 11. The Chargers in Sao Paulo game in Week 1 will be revealed today. The NBA playoffs, they're rolling on. Pacers locked up their spot in the Eastern Conference with a 114-105 win over the Cavs in Game 5. In other action, Thunder storming back to defeat the Nuggets 112-105, and they take a 3-2 series lead. The action rolls on with a pair of Game 5s tonight. The Knicks aiming to close out their series with a win over the defending champion, the Celtics. In the West, the Timberwolves look to clinch a spot in the Western Conference Finals for a second straight season when they host the Warriors. The Stars are 1 win away from going to the Western Conference Finals. Dallas took down the Jets to take a 3-1 lead in its best-of-7 second-round series. Game 5 is Thursday. There are 2 games on Wednesday's schedule. The Maple Leafs hosting the Panthers in Game 5, with their series tied to 2 games apiece. Vegas looking to avoid elimination. It hosts Edmonton in Game 5. And the Hurricanes hope to knock out the Capitals when they visit Washington for their Game 5 on Thursday. The Giants could be without, or they could be looking to add their receiving core. According to the New York Post, the G-men are meeting with veteran wideout Gabe Davis today. He was cut by the Jags last week. The Jets are moving on from a fan favorite. Gang Green released veteran punter Thomas Morstead yesterday. And the Mets, they've taken the first 2 games of their series against the Pirates after picking up a 2-1 victory in Queens. Brett Beatty went 2 for 3 at the dish with a go-ahead solo homer in the bottom of the 7th. They lead the NL East. They hope to sweep the Pittsburghs tonight in the series finale. The Yankees walked off by the Mariners 2-1 in 11 innings from Seattle. Tim Hill suffered the loss after allowing the game-winning run. New York is leading the AL East. They look to capture the rubber match in its series this afternoon. Your WIBX news time is 7:10, 62 degrees and cloudy outside. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
Celebrate AmeriQ Credit Union's 75th anniversary with an extra 0.75% off your auto and rec loans. Apply today at ameriq.org/loan sale.
Not everyone who handles your personal information is as careful as you are, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the United States. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock will monitor hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. And if your identity's stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save 40% your first year with my name, Clay, as your promo code at LifeLock.com. LifeLock, for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company is excited to announce the return of the 24th annual Adirondack Paddle Fest and Gear Expo. This highly anticipated event will return to Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company on Route 28 in Old Forge, May 16th through the 18th. Join us for sales on outdoor gear, clothing, and boats. We'll have food, craft beer, music, kids' activities, and more. Shop over 1,000 canoes, kayaks, and SUPs from the leading manufacturers and hundreds of accessories to choose from. Representatives and vendors will be on hand to help you choose what is best for your paddling needs. Gear up for all your outdoor adventures with discounts on outdoor gear, footwear, and clothing for the whole family. Shop your favorite brands and get great deals this weekend only at Patagonia, Teva, North Face, MSR, and more. Follow Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company on Facebook and Instagram for updates or for all your local outdoor needs.
When it comes to the ones we love, their comfort and dignity matter most. That is why Hospice and Palliative Care is here for you. When you want your loved one's wishes to be honored, when you want them to be comfortable, safe, and secure, and when you want them to be wherever they call home, Hospice and Palliative Care is the right choice. Our team of professional doctors, nurses, social workers, and bereavement counselors are dedicated to providing compassionate care every step of the way. At Hospice, your loved one is not alone, and neither are you. We are just a phone call away, ready to support you through this journey. Choose Hospice and Palliative Care, serving Oneida, Herkimer, and Eastern Madison County for the comfort and dignity your loved ones deserve. For more information, visit our website, hospicecareinc.org, or call us today at 315-735-6484. Hospice and Palliative Care, Middle Settlement Road, New Hartford, serving Oneida, Herkimer, and Eastern Madison counties.
When you need us most.
This is Shannon Bream. Join me for Fox News Sunday as we sit down with a diverse and dynamic group of guests featuring interviews with political, business, and public affairs newsmakers from the U.S. and abroad. All part of the Sunday political block from Fox News Radio. Fox News Sunday, every Sunday, right here on this station.
Fox News Sunday, airing 11 a.m. every Sunday, only on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Okay, Father Sean, good morning. Meet Angela.
Good morning.
Angela,
yes, I heard you on the radio this morning, and I want to know where that antique shop is because unfortunately it's a incurable disease I've inherited from my mother.
It's awful, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
Don't have a shop yet.
No.
I feel like an idiot when I get excited over garage sales. There were a bunch of them this past weekend.
Yeah, I got to work weekends.
A big weekend.
I got to write to the new Pope. He's an American. He'll understand.
He would.
Move Jesus to rise on Wednesday so that I can go to these weekend garage sales.
That would be...
good heavens.
And he might consider that, the new Pope. Pope Leo.
Yeah.
Obviously, I thought we were going to have you in, and I thought we would be talking about...
The conclave.
The conclave.
That's right. You called me in to talk about the conclave and how it happens. And now, who knew it would all end that quick?
Very, very quickly.
In and out conclave.
And then, wasn't it... How did you feel when you heard he was an American?
Well, I got a hold of my sister because she lives in Chicago.
Okay.
So it's an American. It was like a double whammy.
Yeah.
You got an American, you look at your buddy like, what? And then the next thing you know, from Chicago, and you're like, no way.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And then when you hear him talk, because he speaks...
perfect English. Yes.
Perfect English.
American English, yes.
But in American English, but he also speaks perfect Italian.
And Spanish, and I think he's up for 5 languages.
I think so.
Yeah.
All fluently.
Yes.
And so when you hear him... And he was speaking in Latin, I believe, on the day that
he spoke in Latin this first day. But I think his last...
I immediately thought, okay, this is going to be another broken English pope. He's been away from Chicago for so many years. No, it's
weird, isn't it, to see somebody
it is
of that, like the church is the oldest dynasty in the world when you look at it politically.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's like, hey, dude,
I know.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
And they used to be, years ago, it was a joke. If something was unbelievable, you'd say, yeah, and the Pope's a Polak, right? That used to be. And then, of course, John Paul II became the Pope. Now it's like, yeah, there'll never be an American Pope, not in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, that's been shot off the table.
That is true.
Yeah.
We always said Polish because my parents wouldn't allow us to say
Polak.
The other one.
Yeah.
Are
we're not allowed to say that? I apologize.
I don't even know. I guess you're
rules.
Polish.
I'll allow it.
Yeah.
You're allowing it? Okay. You've been allowed.
Thank you. I've been allowed. I haven't been canceled.
You have not.
Yeah.
But it is. I've been watching him do this interview with Lester Holt, who's just standing there.
He was just there, like it wasn't even planned.
It was not planned, and they just talked.
Yeah.
And it was, to me, that's pretty spectacular because the Pope always seemed. Francis probably was different and changed the mold a little bit. It seemed, but the Pope just seemed very unapproachable. This Pope does not seem that way.
No, I think the first one that was the most approachable, at least in my memory, all right, older people may but the first one that was John Paul II.
Yeah.
He was an everyday Joe. He wasn't from a family of nobility, which I had planned on talking to you about in the conclave.
Yeah.
Used to be Catholic nobles, like the King of England before England became Protestant, the Emperor of Austria, the King of Italy. They used to be able to vote for Pope.
Interesting.
And all that got changed in 1903 when Pope Leo XIII died, and Pope Pius X was elected.
And Leo XIII was the
last Leo.
The last Leo was one who really brought the church closer to the people.
Right.
Seemed.
Well, yeah. I mean, ideally, the church. That's why the Catholic Church has nothing to lose. It came from nothing.
Right.
The Roman Empire had everything to lose, and where are they today?
Right.
The Christianity, you don't name the Catholic Church, just Christianity in general.
Yeah.
We came from poor, humble, sinful working people.
Yeah.
And we have nothing to lose. But over time, the church took on, for better or for worse, let's just say it took on some worldly attire.
Yeah.
And it was Pope Leo XIII that really put into writing and therefore back into action the social work, the mission of the church. And we saw Pope Francis really live that, being a voice for the voiceless, making sure that nobody is left behind. Pope Benedict started by saying, remember, the church is a church of invitation. You are always welcome. But he was a much more reserved man. And I think Pope Paul VI, and I could be wrong, I'd have to look it up. I know Pius XII, but I think Paul VI, he was a Montini. I think he was the last noble pope, because like Pius XII was minor Italian nobility.
Okay.
So while we're getting this guy, what was I reading? His dad was I'd have to look back through Google again, because I've been reading about Mussolini and I've been reading about some Stalin. I didn't know Stalin was an altar boy. We got some heavy hitters on our side, don't we?
I guess we do.
So anyway, but Pope Leo XIV now was started out as Father Bob on the south side of Chicago, and his mom and dad were working class people.
They were, and they even said that they thought that his brother has talked a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And his brother, which is really incredible when you imagine you wake up one morning and
your brother's the Pope.
Your brother's the Pope.
The kid you graduated from high school.
Yeah.
That you used to pick on because when you went out to play, he was doing his homework.
Yeah. That's exactly right. And they always, back when he was 6 years old, said, one day you're going to grow up to be the Pope.
Yeah, to tease him.
And that's how they kind of pick on him. Yeah.
They never said that about me.
They didn't say that, no. Not in college either.
No.
For those who don't know, Father Sean and I went to college together.
They always thought I'd be in the state hospital someday.
For radio and television.
Talking to the four people that live in my head at all times. Yeah.
I can identify with that. All right. But do you think that this Pope, Pope Leo, will be, I mean, they say he's a centrist, but, Francis made a lot of moves, but almost. He got a lot of conversation going. Where do you think this Pope will go?
Well, he's an Augustinian. As a religious order, they have a certain mission, okay? Pope Francis, God rest his soul, he was a Jesuit. They say, oh, my gosh, the Pope is saying this. Can you believe that? How could he? He's shaking things up.
Yeah.
He's a Jesuit. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Jesuits are teachers, and they want to make sure if you believe something, it's because you believe it, not because mom and dad told you to believe it.
Right.
And Francis lived the papacy that I think any Jesuit priest would.
Yeah.
Now we'll see how Pope Leo is an Augustinian, and he's also a whole different mindset from North America. He's not the first pope from America. Remember, America is Canada, the United States, and everything below, all the way down to Argentina. So that's America,
right?
And it's two continents, and but he is certainly the first from the United States, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think that there's a possibility that this, for my generation, makes the church a little bit more accessible, just because it's like, oh my God, this is some guy from Chicago, and I think that's going to change things.
Well, you can identify with, right?
Yeah,
and
it seems more accessible. It's like, this is someone who could be a teacher, a professor.
Yeah,
you listen to him, and it doesn't seem so distant.
The thing I noticed when I'm watching. I have to get on YouTube because I've given up on television. I got to be honest with you.
Well, you're on YouTube right now.
And hi. Yeah. My YouTube fans.
Yes.
Sean O'Brien and friends, whatever, find it and watch videos. All my snowmobiles and old cars.
Yeah.
He has so far in the things he has said wants to maintain that theme, that the direction that the church is moving from the ancient institution of Christendom to the apostolic mission of reaching out to God's people. But he came out in traditional papal garb. Pope Francis came out with nothing but the white cassock.
Yes, yeah.
He came out, he had the red shoulder cape, he had the papal stole, much like John Paul II did, much like Benedict did, much like John Paul I did, etc. So that centrist idea that, yes, we're moving forward, but let's not forget our past.
Yeah.
It's very important.
It is, and there are a lot of people wondering where he will be when it comes to women in the church. Where he will be.
He will be where the church teaches. That's why they elected him the Pope.
And the
the guarantor of tradition.
And the acceptance of whether homosexuality or marriage.
Homosexuality
divorce.
is not a sin.
Right.
It's homosexual activity that may or may not get you in trouble, depending on whether it's orientation or actual activity or whatever. But people need to remember that. See, people get their theology from the movies and from the bar. It'd be nice if they'd actually
Usually
go to church
from the bar,
teaching.
I think.
Usually.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if they'd go to actual church teaching.
Yes.
And you know I'm not a liberal by any stretch of the imagination.
I do know that. I would consider you a conservative, to be honest.
I would say that if you started in the middle, you would find me somewhere to the right, but not too far.
Yeah. Almost similar to Pope Leo, I believe, possibly.
I don't know. I don't know the guy.
We'll find out. All right, stand by. We'll talk about you want to call in. You have a question of Father Shine. You want to say hi. Right now, there's a lot going on in Rome. Some changes happening.
Rome.
When in Rome, do as the Rome New Yorkians do.
Okay, Rome, New York. We're talking two Romes here, Bill.
We are.
It's early in the morning, bud.
So from that Rome to this Rome, we'll chat about that coming up as well.
Sounds good.
So stand by. We'll come right back.
Now through May 31st, get up to $160 back by mail on a Firestone prepaid MasterCard. Get up to $80 when you buy a set of 4 eligible Firestone tires. Get up to an additional $80 when you make an eligible tire purchase with your CFNA credit card. Subject to credit approval, restrictions apply. See Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com or firestonerewards.com for details.
Are you sick of being just a number or doing a mindless job? Become a craftsman in a trade. Become an IBEW electrician. The IBEW and the Electrician Training Alliance will give you all the tools necessary at their state-of-the-art training facility. Earn as you learn. Paid training while you get your certification. What are you waiting for? Become an IBEW Local 43 electrician. Call or go online today to learn more. Find your career at IBEW and let the Electrician Training Alliance light up your future.
This is Keeler in the morning. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Okay, coming up, we'll do Habakkuk's free money question of the day. It's worth $150 here this morning. Angelo is in studio, not quite as cute as Megan, so we're told.
I'm trying.
I think that's
I'm really
a fair
trying.
answer. And also in studio right now is John Howard. John, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So let's go back. You were with us back when we were over at Brock's building.
Yeah, I did a little bit stuff with you. I used to do work at the Courier in Clinton.
So your family owned that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now, and I'll tell you how this all went down. My daughter is graduating this week. Their colors, school colors, are purple and white, I believe. Anyway, you had some flowers that a student brought in for Teachers Week to my wife, who said, "Oh my God, I got these flowers for my daughter." Then one thing led to another, and it came to you. And then I'm like, "Oh, I know him.
Yeah.
We know him." And
small world.
So you started a farm. So tell us your story, if you could, and starting the farm and what you do.
Yeah, kind of fell into it more or less. Just started growing food for ourselves, my wife and I, and just had more than we could use.
Yeah.
And put it out on the farm stand. That grew into going to the farmers markets, and now here we are today. We started
the name of your farm is
Post Street Farm in Clinton. Yeah.
Technically, Franklin
Springs is what we call it. Yeah.
Which is really cool. Anyway, what are these? Can you have these flowers that? By the way, I just want everybody to know that I did pay for them. This is not a plug, get something free thing.
Yeah, so we have tulips here.
Those are unique, though. They're different types.
Yeah, Allie grows all sorts of different colors.
Allie is your wife.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep. And I couldn't tell you the variety that they are, but she grows specialty tulips. We don't grow a ton of them, but...
so I think my wife said they're like, it's a cross between tulips and peonies.
Kind of, yeah. They kind of look like
purple.
that. The purple ones. Yeah, they're very unique for sure.
So you do flowers. You do tell everybody.
Yeah,
what
we
you
do. We do cut flowers, cut flower bouquets. Tulip season's kind of coming to an end, but all through summer we do. Allie does flower bouquets, but our big thing is produce. So we do a ton of lettuce. Mixed loose leaf greens is our big thing. Root vegetables, carrots, beets, radish, and then. The staples for farms.
And I'm assuming Thursdays you're at the...
We're at the Clinton Market on Thursdays, and then we have an online farmers market or online farm stand that we stock every week, and that's a Saturday pickup. And
okay.
Yeah.
And so you buy online, and then you pick up from your farm.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah.
How did you go from, because your family owned the Clinton Courier?
Yes. Yeah.
And my guess was, I forget about our conversations, but I like it was an expectation that you were going to be maybe taking over the paper, and I forget about our conversations from quite some time. But even then, I think you had reservations about that. And how do you go from there to here?
Well, it was just the media business. It's a tough business. So I kind of traded the lucrative business of media for the lucrative business of farming. So, but there's been a ton of support, and that's kind of what just the community support is what grew this.
Yeah.
And
was it COVID that you guys started?
We started going to the farmers market in 2021. So we kind of were doing the farm stand in 2020, and there's been a huge interest and push and a growing movement for people to buy from local sources.
Well, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
So and the other thing that you'll find that all this talk about having food that is clean food. Is in other parts of the world they cook with what they have, what's in season, and that they get from local farmers. We don't necessarily always do that, but there is a push to go in that direction right now.
Yeah.
Health push. I think.
Definitely. I mean, that's kind of our big thing is we're face to face with all of our customers. We farm organically. We're not certified organic, but our customers are, if they have questions, they can ask us directly, and they know who we are and they know what we do. And yeah, for sure.
Smart to get out of media.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, have things changed.
Yeah, it's a tough world.
Right, Angelo? Sure. It's a tough world.
Yes, Bill.
The hell are you even thinking about being here for? You, Angelo. Okay, one more time, the website and your exact location.
Yep.
If people want to take advantage and look for you this Thursday at the Clinton Market.
Sure. The farmers market starts first week of June in Clinton on Thursdays. Our website is poststreetfarm.com. That's post-ST Farm. And the best way to do it is just sign up for our newsletter, and we keep people up to date on when we're selling. And we have a lot of produce that's getting ready to go. So yeah, definitely check us out.
Love it. Yeah. All right. Great stuff, John. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I can only tell you that my wife described these flowers as the most beautiful flowers she's ever seen.
I brought you some produce too, so you can take it home or give it away.
Oh, you did? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone with your news update, brought to you by the new Destination Kia of Utica, Commercial Drive, Yorkville. 3 former corrections officers at the Marcy Correctional Facility have rejected the plea deals in connection with their alleged roles in the beating death of inmate Robert Brooks back in December. Anthony Farina, Nicholas Kiefer, and David Kingsley appeared in Oneida County Court yesterday, declining the offers. Onondaga County District Attorney William Fitzpatrick recommended a maximum of 18 years to those who accepted the deal. Farina and Kingsley face second-degree murder charges, while Kiefer faces a gang assault charge. The officers will next appear in court on June 3rd, and they face 25 years to life behind bars if convicted. One person is dead and another critically injured following a home explosion in Hamburg Monday evening. 78-year-old John Pease is at the hospital in critical condition, while his wife, 78-year-old Jolene Pease, died in the explosion. First responders arriving to the home described the scene as a catastrophic explosion, while neighbors referred to it as a fireworks show times 30. An investigation into the explosion is ongoing. Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson are being removed from MLB's banned list. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred stated the punishment for banned individuals ends upon their death. Their removal from the list makes them eligible to be elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. Both Rose and Jackson participated in gambling controversies. Rose bet on games while he was the manager of the Cincinnati Reds. Jackson participated in the infamous Black Sox scandal from the 1919 World Series. The Food and Drug Administration has approved 3 new food dyes from natural sources. The 3 dyes are Gaulderia Extract Blue, Butterfly Pea Flower Extract, and Calcium Phosphate. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has made eliminating petroleum-based dyes in the U.S. a priority in his Make America Healthy Again initiative. Artificial food dyes are being hit with new restrictions or bans at the federal level and in more than half of the states. For who should take over as outside manager. Your WIBX Weather Center forecast is next. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
We'll keep the rain showers in the forecast. Some low clouds, fog around in spots this morning, and that threat for showers will continue to go up as we go through this morning into the afternoon. Otherwise, mainly cloudy. There will be some hours of dry weather, 70. Mainly cloudy tonight, 60, 50s to the north country, and a few showers, maybe an afternoon thunderstorm tomorrow. Warm, upper 70s. I'm meteorologist Ray Stidgick at the Weather Channel on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company is excited to announce the return of the 24th annual Adirondack Paddle Fest and Gear Expo. This highly anticipated event will return to Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company on Route 28 in Old Forge, May 16th through the 18th. Join us for sales on outdoor gear, clothing, and boats. We'll have food, craft beer, music, kids' activities, and more. Shop over 1,000 canoes, kayaks, and SUPs from the leading manufacturers and hundreds of accessories to choose from. Representatives and vendors will be on hand to help you choose what is best for your paddling needs. Gear up for all your outdoor adventures with discounts on outdoor gear, footwear, and clothing for the whole family. Shop your favorite brands and get great deals this weekend only at Patagonia, Teva, North Face, MSR, and more. Follow Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company on Facebook and Instagram for updates or for all your local outdoor needs.
If you're push mowing your yard using an inefficient lawn tractor, or your current zero-turn spends more time in the shop than mowing your grass, it's time you look at a Hustler zero-turn lawnmower. Residential mowers from Hustler are built like tanks and drive like sports cars. All Hustler mowers have fabricated welded steel decks, so don't settle on cheap units with flimsy stamped decks from big box stores. Come see Warner Sales and Service and we'll guide you to the right mower for your property and your budget. Warner Sales and Service, located just off Route 365 between Rome and Verona.
The Memorial Day sale is on at Mattress Express. No one in New York State has all the brands we have. Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, Sealy, Purple, Puffy, the Smart Bed by Instant Comfort, Posh and Lavish. And now we have added Simmons Beauty Rest Black, Serta, and Avocado. Hurry.
Celebrate AmeriQ Credit Union's 75th anniversary with an extra 0.75% off your new or used auto, motorcycle, boat, or recreational vehicle loan. Offer valid for a limited time. Apply today at ameriq.org/loan sale.
Ferris commercial mowers set the bar with racing-inspired patented full suspension and integrated cutting decks so you can go faster, cut better, and not get beat up. Ferris Experience Suspension. Take advantage of the best financing and prices of the year. Visit us at whitesfarmsupply.com.
We're the power and power equipment. White's Farm Supply.
Contractors and landscapers, be able to take on more jobs and get your current projects done with Warner Sales and Service. Whether it's the tough lifting and digging or the more precise work with attachments, Warner Sales and Service has the Bobcat rental to make sure your projects get done. Tough work demands tough equipment, so stop in today at Warner Sales and Service, just off Route 365 between Rome and Verona, and at warnerss.com.
Where quality still counts.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescription at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
WIBX.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, good morning, good morning, good morning. In studio this morning is Father Sean O'Brien. Angelo is a guest host this morning.
Good morning, Bill.
And as I said, we may be speaking to somebody even more special coming up in just a few minutes. Father Sean, good morning. Angelo had started in a second ago and saying what? You like the direction that the church is going in, is what you're saying.
Well, I think that it's going to make things a lot more accessible to people who felt like they couldn't get into it for whatever reason. I think being a pope from America, this could be a teacher, a professor, someone you know. It just seems like something you can kind of learn more about now.
However, Father Sean, you are also a traditionalist.
No, well, you have to be careful now. Up until about 4 or 5 years ago, I would have said yes. Today, traditionalist has become a political term.
Yeah, I guess
they're trads. And so now I have to be very careful of that. I used to say I was very orthodox, that this is what the church teaches, this is it, you see. I'm still that way, but the wording, my gosh, you just can't. Words have changed so much, Like I used to say I'm easy. In other words, no worries, I'm flexible, I'm easy. Can't say that anymore.
Right.
So
there's nothing that can be said.
Good heavens, no.
Yeah.
No.
So, making the church more identifiable for
it's an opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah,
it really is an opportunity.
Yeah.
We were just talking about off the air. The two of us here were talking about the antique world and how what was worth money 10 or 15 years ago you can't even give away today. Like Hummels, for example. Anyway, and because it's just not interesting. The people who were interested in those 10, 15 years ago are dead now.
And that happens in records too, right?
So all the time.
You want to get rid. If you have something that's valuable today, a collector's item, you want to make sure you don't age out.
Right, because they go down in value.
Because they can go down.
I like Edison records, the cylinder style, shaped like a soda can, and I have a couple of machines that used to be. They were big money at one time.
Yeah.
Now,
people don't even know where they are.
No.
Yeah.
No, people walk right by them in a junk store.
I.e. the term junk store.
Yeah. One man's junk is another man's treasure.
And you do, because what happens is you run out of people who are interested in buying, and that's where the market is.
Yep.
Which I think is interesting. I asked you earlier, guess what car is coming back?
And I don't have any idea. And just so the radio listeners know, I did not check my phone to cheat.
Thank you.
So what car is coming back?
It is the Yugo.
Are you kidding?
No. Like the worst car ever. And by the way, $39.95, Seaweaver Chevrolet right down the street here.
Yeah.
I bought my very first new car for $39.95. It was a red Yugo.
I remember those cars. They were terrible.
They were not so bad until they were. Like when I got rid of it, my grandparents loved it. They wanted a small car.
Sure.
And my grandfather had a 65 or 64 Chevy.
Yeah.
Red, chrome, beautiful, beautiful vehicle.
Yeah.
But they wanted the Yugo.
Do you remember the 58 model, 58 Edsel that I drove?
I do remember that.
That was a boat.
That was
compared to a Yugo. You could fit it in the trunk.
The Yugo in my grandparents' driveway. One day I had gotten a phone call and the vehicle basically rusted off the frame. Literally fell. You couldn't open the door because the frame had fallen to the ground. But other than that, it was a pretty good vehicle.
Right. Like the old Dodges, the Dodge Swinger and the Dodge Dart, that had a slant 6. Slant 6, I think so. And to this day, you can't kill that motor.
Yeah.
But the poor Dodge, and it's a Dodge, a nice car.
The
I was like a
Valiant
Dodge.
was the same.
Yep, they rusted right out on you.
The
Terrible.
frames would rust.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know what the price line will be, but
not $39.
But it will no longer be $3,995.
Oh, $3,000. I was going to say
that was the $39.95.
That's what I paid for my Model T Ford.
Here is Joe on the Yugo. Hello, Joe. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I remember the Yugo. I didn't own one, but fortunately I didn't own one. But they were basically an original Fiat, not the Chrysler Fiat, but Fiat from Fiat.
Yes.
That Phillips Motors used to sell downtown. Phillips Sacco had Fiat dealership. And then they went away for a while, and they came back as a Yugo.
As a Yugo, yeah.
Frank G. Chevrolet was the first one around here to have them.
I guess it was Frank G. It wasn't C. Weaver. It was Frank G. And that's
on the River Road.
Yes, right here across the streets where I bought it. And interestingly, it came from Yugoslavia, and like the radio. It was military time. Everything was European on the, including the gas cap was a threaded gas cap. Only a Yugo owner they would steal them because somebody would lose their gas cap. Right. Mine was stolen.
Yeah,
it was very difficult.
Remember all the old gas caps? They were all threaded. They had the like the butterfly in the center fin, and you'd have to
and in the back, right
behind the behind the license plate. That's right.
Okay, good stuff, Joe.
Yeah. Hey, listen, the old joke on that was, why does a Yugo have skis on it in the wintertime on the roof?
And that is.
So
on the
you
roof.
Can push it back to the dealership when it breaks down.
That's a good one. Listen, I'll never forget. These were right after my college days. Spent a lot of time still in Herkimer. We were at a bar one night in Herkimer, parked on Main Street. I came out. Two guys had lifted the Yugo and put it on the sidewalk, and another car was able to park. And
that's funny.
That was
you used to be able to do that with the old bugs. I don't know if you can't do that now.
Can't do it now. All right, Joe. Good stuff. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good day. Doing a little reminiscing here with Father Sean O'Brien.
Yeah.
Angelo, I'll let you introduce the next person coming on the air.
This is the woman that kind of gave me the bug for antiques. This is she kind of fostered that for me. This is Juanita Bass.
The one and only, who we love dearly, Juanita Bass. Good morning.
Hi, guys.
Great to hear from you, Juanita. I hope all is well.
All is great, and it's better now that I'm talking to you. You know you're my honey.
Yeah, I do know that. I feel the same way. So you're a part of this big estate sale with Angelo this weekend, we're told.
Yes, I'm thrilled to be working with him. I love him dearly, and he's such a great guy. All the energy, that's what I hang around him because of his energy, and it kind of, falls back on me a little bit, so that's cool.
Yeah, he has energy. There's no doubt about it.
We caused trouble, her and I.
Yeah.
So she's calling in right now so we could figure out our schedule for today. So if you want to just pipe down, we're going to talk about what we got to do today.
You know what you're doing today. Yeah. Okay, a lot of stuff that's got to be accomplished. Juanita, also, if you can, talk about your the products that are available out there and where people can get your stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can buy my allspice seasoning now at, the Parkway Drugs. And, up in New Hartford.
In the New Hartford Shopping Center.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. We're talking in code here. And that is a great seasoning, boy. That you can use that on anything.
Anything. Yes, and I just got an order for my sweet potato pies now for the military. Nice big order. So the pies are still going overseas for the soldiers. Mm-hmm.
Which is awesome. That's really great.
Yeah.
And our barbecue sauce would go to Chicago for me when I used to live there.
Because there's nothing any better, right?
No.
At Peter's
Cornucopia. Yes.
Yeah, they're good to me up there. They're really good to me up there.
That's awesome. All right, Juanita. So if they want to see you, maybe they'll see you in Whitesboro this weekend at the estate sale.
I hope they come and see me up there with Angelo because we got a lot of great stuff. We'll have a lot of great fun. Right, Angelo?
Of always. Now, listen, though, if you go to see Juanita, she's working. Listen. She's working. This is not going to be a little hangout session. You let her do her job. She's working that jewelry counter.
Okay. All right.
And I'll be there, and I hope y'all come to see us.
And Juanita, if I'm correct, you have a birthday coming up, do you not?
Yes.
I believe.
do.
And it's going to be a biggie, from what I understand. 39.
It's 39 times 3 times what?
Yeah. Well, a happy 90 years old.
90 years old, yep.
And a happy birthday in advance for you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's great.
So come over, check out. It's on my Facebook, my website, Handshake Antiques. Juanita and I will be there 9 to 4 Friday and Saturday. There's a lot of great stuff, and you're not going to want to miss it. There's cool stuff there.
Nice.
It's cool stuff. Yeah, we're going to have fun. Yeah.
Yes, we are.
1935, Father Sean. Yeah. All right, good stuff, Juanita. Happy birthday, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. I love
Check you later.
Okay.
1935, the #1 song, Fred Astaire, Dancing Cheek to Cheek.
Did not know that. I did not know that.
That's
But do you know that her father was the first black mayor of a town or village in New York State?
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Her father was the mayor of Bridgewater.
Oh, I know Bridgewater.
And that's where she grew up.
Very nice.
She had a restaurant, White House Bears Inn.
White House, that was a wonderful restaurant. Soul food, and you can get her stuff, as she said, at Peter's Cornucopia. Talking here this morning with Father Sean O'Brien, who's in. Can we talk a little bit about what's happening in Rome?
Rome, New York.
Yes, Rome, New York.
The Bishop Cunningham, retired, called me up one day and he said, Sean, I want you to go to St. Peter's in Rome. I was at St. Matthew's. I was so excited, Bill, I almost fell out of my chair.
You were headed overseas.
He's right. And then he looked at me and he saw my reaction. And he goes, no, New York. And I'm still very excited to be there. It's a wonderful. Rome is a great town. I've really come to love Rome very much.
Well, and I think a lot of people I hear often about you, but the church structure is changing a little bit.
Well, it is, but I think it's misunderstood.
Okay.
So we're becoming one. Well, first of all, we are one. We're Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's get over that. All right. But there are some people who seem to think that the churches are closing into one church location, and that's not the case. We're becoming one administratively. So instead of 3 pastors, there'll be 1. Instead of 3 business administrators, there'll be 1. So there'll be 1 central office operating the administrative part of parish life.
Yeah.
All right. But St. John the Baptist, St. Peter's, St. Paul's, those are the churches in Rome, and St. Joseph's in Lee Center, they're all going to be operated by 1 pastor and 1 pastoral team, and so that's what's going on. Yes, and there'll still be mass every 2 masses on Saturday, 3 masses on Sunday, so that each location has a mass.
Oh, okay. Right.
It'd be a big change because people are used to, we normally go to the 9, but tomorrow I want to sleep in, so I'll go to the 4. You're going to have to move around. So do I.
Right.
I have to hit all 5 of them in the weekend.
Right.
Yeah. Or all 4 of them. 4 of them.
It is. I think this is there have been less people that go to church today.
Well, and that's right. So that's the big argument. Why are you closing my church?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, the church in which I was confirmed and where I grew up as a boy is a parking lot now.
Yeah.
Down in the southern tier. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who, but though they're few, still live in the home in which they grew up. Things change. And in the Northeast, things are changing.
Yeah.
Now there's the potential for growth with this new company that's moving in.
Huge potential.
But it's only 1,000 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And then of the 1,000, how many are Catholic? And of those, how many practice? Mm-hmm. So we got to relax a little.
Right.
But grocery stores, school districts, other businesses, JCPenney's, Hobby Lobby. I mean, you go through all these different places. They're shutting their doors because there just isn't the population.
Yeah.
But the church is no different.
Right.
St. Peter's seats 800 people. All right. It was built for a population.
Right.
And we just don't have that now.
Yeah. So. And that is controlled by the diocese in Syracuse.
Yes and no. That's a very good question because the bishop often gets complaints that really should be directed towards myself, Father Angelicchio, and Father Kelly. The bishop sets the direction. So especially for those of our listening audience who might be military or retired, it's the commander's intent, they call it. The bishop sets the direction. Here's where we're going. And then he leaves how we get there. For the most part, he leaves that to the local community. And then we present suggestions and options that we have come together. And then of those, he can say, well, this would be best, or, and there's some negotiation. So for a while, St. Paul's was not going to have Mass on the weekend.
Right.
And that's changed. During the process, that's changed. Now, where will Mass be? What time will it be? People write to the bishop.
Yeah.
That's not him.
Yeah.
That's settled on the
bishop.
local
It's
level.
not the bishop calling.
So I tell people on Sunday when I make my announcements, if you're going to pick up your bow and arrow and shoot me.
Yeah.
The bishop. So he sets the direction, and as long as there's parameters, and as long as we stay within those parameters, he really leaves it up. This is a very good bishop, Bishop Lucia.
I think about this sometimes. These churches are enormous and beautiful.
Oh yeah.
We do have beautiful churches.
St. John's,
in
downtown Rome,
or
Utica. I mean, this is the third oldest Catholic parish, not church building, but parish in upstate New York.
Wow, I did not know that.
Second oldest.
Yeah.
Second oldest.
You just wonder how much must it cost to operate.
Well, that's the other issue.
That's the other part of this. And just to heat a church alone has got to be incredible.
Sure. So Mrs. Bonavecchio is a widow. She's 80 years old. She gives $20 a week, right? It's one person. A family of 5 moves in, the Flanagans, mom, dad, and 3 kids. They only get $5 a week.
Right.
So now we're up 5 people.
Right.
Well, Mrs. Bonavecchio dies. Now we're only up 4 people, but we're down $15.
Right.
I mean, that's the business side of it, which I'm not good at that. But so, and you get a church like St. Peter's, been around since 1836. The new building, we have a brand new facility now, was built in 1897. And St. John's in Utica, I think that might be the second or third iteration of that parish. They're not cheap to run,
right?
But everybody wants. They'll complain. Oh, it's cold, Father. Turn up the heat.
Yeah.
And I feel like saying, then cough up the cash. But of course you can't say that. Well, the church has money. The church has wealth,
right?
But not money.
Yeah.
The wealth is in the people. And maybe property that we own, but we don't have cash on hand.
Right.
So.
And those are the things that you don't think about when you're upset over the fact that your church is closing or Mass
has been reduced, But you say, so I say Mass at 8 in the morning at St. Peter's, and there's on average 150 to 160 people there in a church that seats 800.
Right.
So the coming together is necessary.
Yeah.
I'm an East Utica guy, and it's the same thing's happening on East Utica. I mean, you got 4 parishes practically, just lined up one after each other.
So what do you got?
St. Anthony's, Mount Carmel, and historic old St. John's. They're all just pretty much in a straight line.
St. John's is East Utica?
Well, it's not East Utica, but it's going down Bleecker Street.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
But a lot of these guys who say, I can't believe they're combining parishes or closing parishes. Right. Some of these people haven't been to their old neighborhood parish.
Right. And if you're a good hitter, you can throw a baseball bat up in the air and hit it with the bat, and you'll hit St. Joe's, St. Pat's on Columbia.
Yeah.
So it's,
So obviously, we're talking. We had a very interesting event that just occurred. We witnessed a new pope, and people are saying, "What will this mean? Will we be looking at a more liberal church?" And it's hard to tell. But at the same time, you corrected me earlier by saying the word of God still remains the same, right?
Right, and the Pope is a guarantor of tradition. He may shake things up a little and get you thinking.
Right.
But even Pope Francis, as crazy as some people think his statements were, he never veered from church teaching.
But it did get people talking.
Oh, you betcha.
So the issue of women being priests in the church, your thoughts? You feel that'll never happen?
Not in my lifetime, but I didn't think there'd be an American Pope in my lifetime either.
True.
That's a major... that's like saying England doesn't want to have a king anymore. Well, you'd have to change the whole Constitution for that to happen. Or to say, Donald Trump wants to go for a 3rd term. You'd have to change the whole Constitution to make that happen. And so in order to allow women to be ordained deacons or priests, I mean, that's not just going to, the Pope just can't, and he's not allowed to. Just the nature of his job doesn't allow him to wake up on a Wednesday morning and say, hey, guys, guess what?
I've decided we're going to have.
Happen.
How would something like that happen?
I don't know. I don't work on that level.
There are people that are basically lobbying to
lobby all you want. It's not a democracy.
It's not going to happen.
I'm not a canon lawyer. You could figure that out. That's above my pay scale. I'm a parish priest in downtown Rome. That's all I know.
And then there was the thought that there would not be an American pope, and we talked a little bit about this earlier. Maybe maybe Donald Trump played a role in an American pope. Without going into politics.
Oh, I don't think he was at the conclave.
No, my point is that you know what I'm saying. So explain what your thoughts are on that. And again, it's just an opinion.
Right, and I don't know either. I wasn't at the conclave, and I'm not a psychic. But there's no doubt the United States is very much in the news now.
Yeah.
However you want to look at that, right?
No matter which side you're on.
Correct. There's no doubt the United States is very much in the news now. So when you look at, could that have played a possibility in the Cardinals choosing a pope from the United States? It could have. I don't know. But you also, if you want to get on Wikipedia or whatever it's called, online and look at this guy's record, there's no doubt that the Holy Spirit, he's certainly not a careerist.
Right.
He doesn't have that personality of climbing the ladder, as we say. But something was behind making sure that he was in certain places at certain times. I'd like to say it was the Holy Spirit, and guided him to where he is now. Yeah. So it's probably mostly the man. He's a guy, mostly the person, but he's a guy, mostly the man, and I wouldn't be surprised if it. I mean, it had to be on the minds of the Cardinals. Yeah. Because no matter where you go in the world today, we're in the news.
We are in the news, and it's not always. I mean, the rest of the world looking at Donald Trump has, we have a divided country, but the rest of the world, it is they're quite critical of us these days. And
I haven't watched international news recently. I used to, but I've sworn off the TV for a bit.
Well, I think they're wondering where all of this is going. There's a lot of change, and I do think that this could have played a role. I mean, the guy speaks not only English, but he speaks fluent American English, Chicago English, which I find to be very very interesting.
Yeah. Was he 15 years as an Augustinian in Chicago?
I believe
he was 18 or 19. I'd have to read his bio again, but you're looking at a fair part of his young life. Into his 30s, early 40s.
Yeah.
Growing up here before he was sent to South America.
And it is odd when he speaks that you're seeing such.
You just don't expect it.
You don't expect it. It's
hey, how you doing?
It is
Brooklyn, though.
So summertime. The other part of your your life is the things that you like to do. Talk about that.
Well, the things I'd like to do, Mother Nature apparently does not want me to do this year.
Lately, it's been terrible.
We had no rain yesterday. It looks like a nice day today. My day off is Wednesday. I head north, and that's, of course, when things go
From the Stanley Theater Studios, WIBX Utica, Rome,
W295DI,
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
It's the second stop on the Trump Middle East trip. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The president has arrived in Qatar and just is meeting now with the emir and the royal court, pushing for more investments in the U.S. and American businesses. On his way there, President Trump said on Air Force One it's possible he could go to Turkey tomorrow if there are face-to-face talks between Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky and Russian leader Vladimir Putin.
He would like me to be there, and that's a possibility. If we could end the war, I'd be thinking about that.
Saudi Arabia was the first stop on the trip, and Fox's Mark Meredith reports from the White House.
One of the biggest headlines to come out of that stop was his meeting with the new president of Syria. It's the first time in 25 years we've seen such a large exchange of diplomatic vows between the U.S. and Syria. The meeting only coming just hours after the U.S. announced plans to drop all sanctions on the Syrian regime.
To give Syria, to give them a fresh start, it gives them a chance for greatness. The sanctions were really crippling, very powerful.
The president also said he wants to do a deal with Iran, but it has to end its nuclear program, saying Iran cannot be allowed to build weapons. He also called for peace in Gaza, where new Israeli airstrikes targeted Hamas infrastructure. Palestinian officials say at least 60 people were killed, many of them children. Wisconsin Judge Hannah Dugan, accused of trying to help an illegal immigrant avoid deportation, has been indicted by a federal grand jury.
The Milwaukee County Circuit Judge faces charges of obstruction and harboring an individual due to face arrest, accused of directing an undocumented immigrant out a back door in her courtroom after learning immigration agents were in the courthouse searching for him.
That's Fox's Kristen Goodwin. The Menendez brothers could someday be set free. Eric and Lyle, resentenced in California to 50 years to life in prison for murdering their parents in 1989. They're now eligible for parole. Their attorney, Mark Garrigo, says
this encourages people who are incarcerated to make the right decisions, to take the right path.
The case got renewed attention over allegations they endured sexual abuse from their father. America's listening to Fox News.
Don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by Big Wireless. There is a better way. Pure Talk, my sponsor, my wireless company, has a better offer. A brand new free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan for $35 a month. You get unlimited talk, unlimited text, 15 gigs of data, all on America's most dependable 5G network. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk for your free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan. Pure Talk, wireless by Americans for Americans.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-893-2288. 800-893-2288. 800-893-2288.
While House Republicans keep working on a massive budget bill to fund the Trump agenda, the Democrats warn will lead to Medicaid cuts, taking health care away from some Americans. The president said this to Fox's Sean Hannity on Air Force One.
It's going to be very hard for them not to approve the big, beautiful bill that we're doing. We're doing the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country because people are going to be getting a 50 to a 90% reduction in drug prices, not a 0.5%.
The president signed an executive order Monday aiming to lower prescription drug prices for Americans, but the Senate's Republican leader has his doubts.
The executive order would require drug companies to lower their prices on prescription drugs to the same level as developed nations with cheaper costs. Senate Majority Leader John Thune tells Fox News Radio the executive order is likely to end up in court.
My guess is that it'll be the subject of probably multiple lawsuits, and I think the courts will probably have something to say about it.
President Trump believes the plan could end up saving Americans well over 50% on prescription drugs. On Capitol Hill, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
There's been a massive illegal drug bust.
The bust, which took place in early December, netted 1,500 kilograms of fentanyl, the largest on record. U.S. Attorney for Southern California, Adam Gordon.
That's more than 1.65 tons of fentanyl.
As a result, 7 members of the Sinaloa cartel were charged not just with drug crimes, but as members of what the Trump administration has designated a foreign terrorist organization.
That's Fox's Kevin Uretsky. On Wall Street, stock futures are rising modestly before the opening bell next hour. In the NBA playoffs, the top-seeded team in the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers, knocked out, losing in Game 5 to the Indiana Pacers 114-105. Out west, though, the number 1 seed Oklahoma City, a winner, beating Denver 112-105. The Thunder lead that series 3-2. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Good morning. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM news time is 8:05. I'm Megan Stone with your news update brought to you by Adirondack Home Furniture. Currently cloudy outside and 63 degrees. Your full WIBX Weather Center forecast is coming up right after this. 3 former corrections officers at the Marcy Correctional Facility have rejected the plea deals in connection with their alleged roles in the beating death of inmate Robert Brooks back in December. Anthony Farina, Nicholas Kiefer, and David Kingsley appeared in Oneida County Court yesterday and declined the offers. Onondaga County District Attorney William Fitzpatrick recommended a maximum of 18 years to those who accepted the plea deal. Farina and Kingsley face second-degree murder charges, while Kiefer faces a gang assault charge. The officers will next appear in court on June 3rd and face 25 years to life behind bars if they are convicted on their charges. A Rome man was arrested on burglary charges for allegedly trying to steal from the North Utica Walmart. Utica police say officers were called to the store on March 31st and were told by loss prevention a man had stolen about $970 worth of merchandise. Loss prevention said they were familiar with the suspect, saying he had previously stolen from them and had been banned from the property. Authorities arrested the suspect, 34-year-old Joshua Tanner, on Friday, and the charges against him were upgraded. He now faces third-degree burglary charges. A 17-year-old juvenile was arrested after leading police on a chase in a stolen vehicle. Utica police say officers came across a vehicle they knew to have been stolen and was previously involved in several failures to comply incidents in the city, as well as other jurisdictions. Police also suspected there were handguns inside the car. The vehicle fled at a high rate of speed after an attempted stop, and the driver lost control of the car. The vehicle crashed into a curb on Genesee Street, then struck a utility pole and a parked vehicle. The occupants tried to flee, but police were able to detain them. The driver, who was 17, was charged with resisting arrest and unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. 4 other occupants also faced the latter charge. After spending 20 years helming Ark Herkimer, President and CEO Kevin Crosley is stepping down to retire. The announcement was made yesterday, saying Crosley will retire at the end of the year. The board for Ark Herkimer has named a new president to take his place on January 1st, and that will be Lorene Bass, who currently serves as executive vice president. This will mark the first time in about 4 decades Ark Herkimer had a woman president. Ark Herkimer is an organization that provides services to empower people with disabilities living in Herkimer County. And the names of 3 local members of law enforcement who made the ultimate sacrifice have been added to a memorial in Washington, D.C. Syracuse police officer Michael Jensen and Onondaga County Sheriff's Lieutenant Michael Huzik were shot and killed in the line of duty in Salina last April. And in September, Oswego County Deputy Kaylee Kemple died while responding to a call. The National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial has more than 24,000 names engraved on it. Your WIBX news time is 8:08. Here is your full weather forecast.
We'll keep the rain showers in the forecast. Some low clouds, fog around in spots this morning, and that threat for showers will continue to go up as we go through this morning into the afternoon. Otherwise, mainly cloudy. There will be some hours of dry weather, 70. Mainly cloudy tonight, 60, 50s to the north country, and a few showers, maybe an afternoon thunderstorm tomorrow. Warm, upper 70s. I'm meteorologist Ray Stijik at the Weather Channel on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
63 degrees and cloudy. Let's take a look at sports. Brought to you by IBEW Local 43 Sports Desk. The NFL will play 7 international games this upcoming season. The league unveiled most of those matchups yesterday. The Minnesota Vikings will play in 2 different countries in back-to-back weeks, facing the Steelers in Dublin in Week 4 and then the Browns in London in Week 5. Week 6, we'll see the Broncos play the Jets in London, while the Rams will take on the Jags in London for Week 7. Berlin will host the Colts and the Falcons in Week 10, and Madrid will see the Dolphins take on the Commanders in Week 11. The Chargers' opponent for Sao Paulo, that's a Week 1 game, will be revealed later today. The NBA playoffs rolled on. The Pacers locked up their spot in the Eastern Conference with a 114-105 win over the Cavs in Game 5. In other action, the Thunder storming back late to defeat the Nuggets 112-105. They now take a 3-2 series lead. The action rolls on with a pair of Game 5s tonight. In the East, the Knicks are aiming to close out their series with a win over the defending champion, the Celtics. In the West, the Timberwolves look to clinch a spot in the Western Conference Finals for a second straight season when they host the Warriors. The Stars are 1 win away from going to the Western Conference Finals. Dallas took down the Jets to take a 3-1 lead in its best-of-7 second-round series. Game 5 is tomorrow night. There are 2 games on today's schedule. The Maple Leafs hosting the Panthers in Game 5. Vegas is looking to avoid elimination when it hosts Edmonton. Meanwhile, the Hurricanes hope to knock out the Capitals when they visit Washington tomorrow for Game 5. The Giants could be looking to add to their receiving core, according to the New York Post. The G-men are meeting with veteran wideout Gabe Davis today. He was cut by the Jags last week, and the Jets, they're moving on from a fan favorite. Gang Green released veteran punter Thomas Morstead yesterday. The Mets, they'd taken the first 2 games in their series against the Pirates after picking up a 2-1 victory in Queens. Brett Beatty went 2 for 3 at the dish with a go-ahead solo homer in the bottom of the 7th. New York leads the NL East after winning 3 straight. They look to sweep Pittsburgh tonight. The Yankees were walked off by the Mariners 2-1 in 11 innings from Seattle. Tim Hill suffered the loss after allowing the game-winning run. New York is still leading the AL East. They look to capture the rubber match this afternoon. Your WIBX News Time, 8:11, 63 degrees, cloudy outside. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
Celebrate AmeriQ Credit Union's 75th anniversary with an extra 0.75% off your auto and rec loans. Apply today at ameriq.org/loan sale.
Hi, folks. This is Rob Hilton. Your family is your greatest treasure. Is your estate plan ready to protect them when it matters most? At Hilton Estate and Elder Law, we understand the importance of getting it right. That's why we offer a free review of your current plan. Together, we'll assess it and provide honest feedback to ensure it truly works. No cost, no obligation, just confidence and peace of mind. Let's prepare for the future together. Schedule a free review today.
Hilton, you know the name, they know the law.
Mattress Express is proud to announce we have added Simmons Beauty Rest Black, Serta Eye Comfort, and Avocado, the big online brand, to our lineup in all of our stores. Go to mattressexpressny.com or call 1-800-NEW-BED.
Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company is excited to announce the return of the 24th annual Adirondack Paddle Fest and Gear Expo. This highly anticipated event will return to Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company on Route 28 in Old Forge, May 16th through the 18th. Join us for sales on outdoor gear, clothing, and boats. We'll have food, craft beer, music, kids' activities, and more. Shop over 1,000 canoes, kayaks, and SUPs from the leading manufacturers and hundreds of accessories to choose from. Representatives and vendors will be on hand to help you choose what is best for your paddling needs. Gear up for all your outdoor adventures with discounts on outdoor gear, footwear, and clothing for the whole family. Shop your favorite brands and get great deals this weekend only at Patagonia, Teva, North Face, MSR, and more. Follow Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company on Facebook and Instagram for updates or for all your local outdoor needs.
Not everyone who handles your personal information is as careful as you are, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the United States. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock will monitor hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. And if your identity's stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save 40% your first year with my name, Clay, as your promo code at LifeLock.com. LifeLock. For the threats you can't control, terms apply.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Get pumped for summer. Add smart heat pump cooling and heating to your home. Call City Suburban today. 315-864-9734 or go online to citysuburban.com. That's citysuburban.com.
Stop putting off registering for the 2025 Boilermaker Road Race because it's almost sold out. People are sprinting to Boilermaker.com to grab their racing bibs before they're gone. Reserve your spot at the starting line now and punch your ticket to the world's best post-race party, where there will be live music, drinks, food, and plenty of surprises. This year's Boilermaker will be bigger and better than ever, but the window to sign up is closing. So run, don't walk, to Boilermaker.com and sign up for one of America's most famous races. See you at the starting line July 13th.
I got to say, I'm surprised they haven't had, I know they've done some like Wheel of Fortune shows at the Turning Stone. What they really need to do, because these can get, this match game can get a lot of fun. They need to do one of those shows at the Turning Stone.
Well, just see the personalities that they would come in.
It would be epic.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Turning Stone, the man on the line right now, Joel Barkin, is the Vice President of Communications for the United Nation. And Joel, good morning.
What's happening? I will take that recommendation back.
Listen, match game is fun. It could be,
racy, little racy.
Games. Every time we do one of these game shows,
they're huge.
Dancing with the Stars, or massive massive fan base out there. You don't realize how big they are. So
you do not. Yeah.
Well, and I've been to a couple of the shows out there that were the Taste of Home, the cooking shows.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And some celebrity chefs. I've been to some shows out there with the celebrity chefs. They're great.
Well, and Joel, that's what this is really all about. So what you used to be able to, what you can do now, and what you're going to be able to do in 2 years is night and day, right?
Yeah, it's pretty significant. As you mentioned, we had a topping ceremony last week, which, for those of you who don't know what a topping ceremony is, they're just a major milestone events when you place the final beam on a structure that you're building. So for our new hotel, the Crescent Hotel, and we are, we're moving fast, moving on time, maybe a little bit faster than on time, on budget. Got a lot of tremendous partners. I mean, it was really a great event seeing the community come together. We have more than 60 upstate New York businesses that are working on this project. So the construction workers were there represented. Many of the business subcontractors were there. Elected officials, community partners, obviously Oneida Indian Nation members, and our workforce team members, employees there. So it is spectacular, and all to support this, major evolution of the property. We're going to double the size of our meeting and convention facilities, and that structure is coming along really fast.
I can't believe how quickly it's all happening. By the way, I didn't know what a topping out ceremony was until about a month ago when I sat and watched the entire ceremony for the Buffalo Bills as they were doing their topping out.
That was a good one. That was pretty cool.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I turn around a couple of weeks later and the Turning Stone is doing one. And I'm like, I totally know what that is.
Well, I remember the one they did the one at the Wynn, too, when they were building the hospital.
Yes, they did that as well there. So I guess we've seen 3. And I had never
we just did one earlier this year at the Point Place Casino, too.
That's right.
So it's so this is actually our second this year.
Well, and you know what? It's interesting is that we have been I understand the Turning Stone was built and all of that is one of the new structures in the area, but we're so not accustomed to new construction in our area, and that has changed in the last 5-7 years, and so it is something that we're becoming accustomed to, and that shows there's progress. Speaking of progress, it is amazing, Joel, how quickly everything is going up there at the property at the Turning Stone. I mean, it's fast.
Well, one of the things that I think people, when we initially announced it in 2023, and then we broke ground in 2024, and people were saying, well, why are you waiting a year to break ground? And what you don't realize, what I certainly didn't realize, is the amount of time and planning that goes into just the planning for this and the actual construction and the timeline, that you need a year just to navigate all the issues and all the logistics so that once you start, it moves very rapidly. So there were a lot of people that spent, a lot of time, more than a year, making sure that we could be in a place to move quickly on this, and that's what we're seeing.
Well, and I think to that point, it speaks very well of the relationships that the Turning Stone has and with our local elected officials and how well everybody works together. I mean, everybody seems to be more or less on the same page. We all want to move in the right direction, and you bring up a very vital point that a lot of people typically don't see by design. All the work that happens before, quote, the work starts. And everything has to be in place. All the paperwork has to be done. All the permits have to be there. All the people have to be ready. So when you pull the trigger, if everything goes according to plan, everything goes smoothly. And when things don't go smoothly, people are better prepared to deal with that.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
The other thing, Joel, is we remember what it was like when the elected officials were not there. Before this deal was done. It's almost like we've forgotten about that. But, there was a time when I can't go there. We're in the middle of negotiations.
So-and-so is going to be there.
That's all gone. That's all gone. And that is, it shows you how much can be accomplished when everybody's, you had a lot of public officials at the topping out ceremony. That was a good thing to see.
Yeah, well, there's a 30-year track record of showing that when the Oneida Indian Nation says something, and if they're going to do something, they follow through. And and it has been, since you brought it up, since the 2013 agreement. I mean, I think once we settled all those issues, have everyone moving in the same direction. Ray Halberter used to say, "Look, we can spend money on lawyers, or we can spend money on reinvesting."
Right.
And we'd rather spend it on reinvesting, and that's exactly what's happened. In addition to, generating literally hundreds of millions of dollars through our agreement for local public services. So it has. I would challenge anyone to find a better piece of public policy than that 2013 agreement.
Now, it's Mike here says it'll be exciting to see the topping out off ceremony at the Chobani facility. I see they're breaking ground on July 1st. And I got to say, being at that ceremony the other day, Joel, I immediately thought about, because Hondi was talking about how they're committed to this area. He sees New York as his home, and they invested here because of that. The first thought that came to my mind was the Oneida Nation, and I think you said it on the air, and I always repeat this because it's important. Companies can come and go. Companies that have no loyalty to an area can come and go. The United Nation, this is this is Oneida land. There's nowhere they're going, and the investment is in their home. And that, I think, I see the similarities with Chobani, and I thought of the United Nation.
I like it. I think that's right. A good correlation. And we're excited for that as well. And, whenever you can get long-term commitment and people investing in this region, that's good for everyone.
Okay, what should people know as you're moving forward? Anything that you want the public to know about?
Well, I mean, I think the exciting thing for us is we still, we are quite literally, changing, the tires on the highway, right? As the car's running down the highway. So, and I think one of the things we continue to hear from our guests is, we do have a lot of construction on, but even that has been so meticulously planned. So you don't see it here. It doesn't, we have really figured out a very easy way not to interrupt the guest experience while still doing all this work. And we have a lot going on, right? I mean, I will tell you we're going to announce next week, Boxing Hall of Fame weekend is coming up June 6th. We have every year for Boxing Hall of Fame weekend, we do a huge nationally televised fight on the Friday night. They're going to have Hall of Famers there. Manny Pacquiao and others are being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And Saturday and Sunday, there's events at Canastota and at Turning Stone. So I would encourage folks to follow, what's going to be going on there. It's really a historic year. It's going to be very, very cool. And we got a lot of people coming in literally from all over the world to celebrate. So that'll be a lot of fun.
If I could, Davey has a real big question. He wants to know if there's going to be a certain someone that might be appearing at the Turning Stone after the parade. Davey, what's your question?
Is Sydney Sweeney going to be around?
Well, I guess we'll have to find out. But like I said, I don't want to spoil Ed's news, but he got a big one in that one. In terms of, so we're excited for Ed. It's going to bring a lot more attention, and let's just say there are going to be faces all over Turning Stone that people are going to recognize that weekend. So it's a great weekend to hang out at the property.
That's pretty cool. And anything you want to talk this weekend? Obviously, Kentucky Derby weekend, or depending on where you go at the resort, there's always something going on for the Derby.
Yeah, we'll have stuff going on. New York Rec and Social, big fun party there. Our sports book and bar, and then of course all over the property there'll be festivities.
All right, good stuff, Joel. We always appreciate the update.
All right, guys, I appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Have a great day. Joel Barkin with the United Nation, and that Sweeney thing, Davey.
Yeah, so when Ryan...
I know you're really, really excited. She's going to be, for those that don't know, she's going to be the Grand Marshal of the parade for the Boxing Hall of Fame.
So Ryan Cabrera was over there a couple weeks ago, like a month and a half ago at Exit 33 to hit that new entertainment thing they have.
Yeah.
So his wife is Alexa Bliss from WWE.
Oh, that's
so a buddy of mine was over there and says, if you get a chance, you got to come over here. She's here. If you want to meet her.
Hanging out.
Just hanging out. And, of course, I didn't go over because I didn't want to be a stalker. And
that sounds a little
fan stalker. Sometimes that's a fine line.
Little creepy when you think about it. Yeah, you better get over here, Davey. Guess who's here? Still, though, you just never know, right?
Yeah, you never know. But I will be in Canastota at Boxing Hall of Fame.
Right.
Weekend.
I mean, when it comes to Sweeney, what's her name again? Sydney Sweeney. Creepy's okay, right? She's just apparently that incredible.
We're the power and power equipment. White's Farm Supply.
At Kubota, we want to help you deliver a job done right. That's why we want you to know that new Kubota inventory is arriving daily. You have work to do. We have the reliable, durable, and versatile lineup to help you do it. Visit us at whitesfarmsupply.com.
We're the power and power equipment. White's Farm Supply.
The following heartwarming yet informative scene is brought to you by Trust and Will.
Son, your grandpa and I used to work on this car together, and when I'm gone, I want you to have it.
Wow. Thanks, Dad. Doesn't count. What you need is a will. Luckily, Trust and Will makes it easy. Designed by attorneys, but customized by you can easily create a state-specific, legally valid document that actually counts. Now, let's let the engine do the talking, am I right? Start your will at trustandwill.com. Use offer code COUNT for 20% off and make it count. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. For details, see trustandwill.com.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone with your news update brought to you by the new destination Kia of Utica, Commercial Drive, Yorkville. 3 former corrections officers at the Marcy Correctional Facility have rejected the plea deals in connection with their alleged roles in the beating death of inmate Robert Brooks back in December. Anthony Farina, Nicholas Kiefer, and David Kingsley appeared in Oneida County Court yesterday, declining the offers. Onondaga County District Attorney William Fitzpatrick recommended a maximum of 18 years to those who accepted the deal. Farina and Kingsley face second-degree murder charges, while Kiefer faces a gang assault charge. The officers will next appear in court on June 3rd, and they face 25 years to life behind bars if convicted. One person is dead and another critically injured following a home explosion in Hamburg Monday evening. 78-year-old John Pease is at the hospital in critical condition, while his wife, 78-year-old Jolene Pease, died in the explosion. First responders arriving to the home described the scene as a catastrophic explosion, while neighbors referred to it as a fireworks show times 30. An investigation into the explosion is ongoing. Pete Rose and shoeless Joe Jackson are being removed from MLB's banned list. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred stated the punishment for banned individuals ends upon their deaths. Their removal from the list makes them eligible to be elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. Both Rose and Jackson participated in gambling controversies. Rose bet on games while he was the manager of the Cincinnati Reds. Jackson participated in the infamous Black Sox scandal from the 1919 World Series. A new AI tool can tell you how old you look biologically. Face Age turns a headshot into a number that reflects a person's biological age. Based on thousands of photos, Face Age gave most cancer patients a biological age 5 years older than their healthy peers. Research shows humans age at a different rate based on genes, stress, exercise, and habits like smoking and drinking. Face Age promises the same results as genetic DNA tests using only a selfie. Your Weather Center forecast is coming up next. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
We'll keep the rain showers in the forecast. Some low clouds, fog around in spots this morning, and that threat for showers will continue to go up as we go through this morning into the afternoon. Otherwise, mainly cloudy. There will be some hours of dry weather, 70. Mainly cloudy tonight, 60, 50s to the north country, and a few showers, maybe an afternoon thunderstorm tomorrow. Warm, upper 70s. I'm meteorologist Ray Stijik at the Weather Channel on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
BME Company Business Machines and Equipment has been delivering office solutions for businesses in upstate New York for over 30 years. Their success comes from finding the right document management strategies and software solutions for streamlining workflows. Simply put, BME provides fast, reliable service at the best value to keep your business running smoothly. Through BME's strategic partnership with Hummel's Office Plus, they distribute supplies for just about every machine in your office at a great price. BME welcomes the opportunity to serve your business, selling, leasing, and service in Canon and Kyocera devices, as well as FP mailing solutions. An important part of BME's culture is supporting the communities they're fortunate to work in, and BME recognizes that support is one reason for their success. The future of business in BME's area is encouraging, and the company is grateful to be a part of that growth. Call BME Company at 315-574-8200 or visit BMEcompany.com. BME Company Office Solutions. Made simple.
Don't miss Clinton Tractor Spring Sales Event. We're giving you the best deals of the season on all of our inventory. Thousands of used and new equipment in stock, all in one location. Get 0% financing on new Ferris commercial mowers, Massey Ferguson, and New Holland equipment. And trailers and used equipment as low as 5.49%. Restrictions apply. We're giving you the best deals of the season. It's Clinton Tractor Spring Sales Event.
We are the leader in service, Clinton Tractor.
ClintonTractor.net.
In life, we're often faced with difficult decisions. When it comes to caring for our loved one, the choice can be overwhelming. But amidst the uncertainties, there's one decision that stands out as an act of profound love and gratitude: choosing hospice care. Hospice care isn't just about medical support. It's about honoring the journey of those who've given their all to their families. It's about providing comfort, dignity, and peace in their final days, surrounded by loved ones. Choosing hospice is a way to give back to someone who has selflessly given their life to others. At Hospice and Palliative Care, we understand the weight of this choice. Our compassionate team is here to guide you through every step of the journey, providing personalized care that respects the individuality and dignity of your loved one. When it's time to say goodbye, choose hospice care. Choose love. Choose Hospice and Palliative Care, serving Oneida, Herkimer, and Eastern Madison counties. Visit our website, hospicecareinc.org, or call 315-735-6484.
When you need us most.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-683-7711. 800-683-7711. 800-683-7711.
In studio right now is Julianne Price. And good morning, guys. Pull that microphone. Jeff's going to hop you a little bit there. Nice and close. And also in studio is her accompanist, Joe Furlow. How are we going to work that out? I don't know how we're going to do that in there. Yeah, maybe you're going to want to stand. Because that'll be, and then Jeff can hook you up there. And then Joe, if you can make sure that is right on the guitar. Why don't you play a little so I can test you out? We're gonna have some music here. I'm very excited about it. Okay, I'll need that mic closer too. Come on in here, Davey. These adjustments should have happened during the commercial break, but that's all right. You gotta unscrew that thing in the middle. Unscrew that one.
Do I go closer?
Yep.
Yeah.
And go down.
Close.
It's got to be down on the whole.
Like 2 inches, maybe.
It won't go down any further?
No.
Oh, lovely. All right, then raise his chair. Isn't there a way to raise that chair? Sorry, Joe. We are manipulators around. Oh, we're going to put you up way high. Good luck getting up there. Don't fall, whatever you do. I do. Just if you can't do it, you can't do it. I just got to be able to get you on mic, and I'm not getting it. Let's try it again. Let's see what we have now. Okay. Oh, much better. Much better. How about you, Julianne?
Hello, hello.
Hello. Good morning. All right. So let's.
Speaking of Willie Nelson, he said, I can't get that high.
Can't get that high. And is that what's keeping him plugging away? He's performing.
I'll never get high with Willie Nelson again.
Again.
That's actually a tune.
That is a tune. I did not know that. I'll never get high with Willie again. From what I heard is whatever he uses is pretty strong. Although, has he given it up? I don't think so.
He might have quit. Yeah, he
I
might
thought
have
I
quit.
heard a story where he might have quit. All right, Julianne, good morning. Good
morning.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Of course.
And tell us what you're going to do here. First of all, I know we're promoting a lot of stuff that's going on in Rome this week.
Yes.
Or this month, I should say, this upcoming month.
I know. So thanks for having us, first of all, Bill. I know we run into each other sometimes.
Yes.
And then you're like, why don't you come on the radio and talk about it? And I'm like, I have nothing.
Well, here you
and
are.
And then I added it up. I'm like, actually, I have
You have a
some.
lot. Yeah, you have a lot there.
I know. Well, the most exciting thing coming up this week is Joe Furlow getting inducted in the Rome Arts Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Congratulations.
That's
it's
awesome.
About time. I
Yeah.
said it's about time. He's a legend around here, and like with his virtuoso guitar.
Yeah, that is awesome.
A real jazz-studied musician, a true one.
Yeah. Congratulations, Joe.
With a
That's
degree
awesome.
in jazz and guitar. You know?
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
awesome.
Amazing. So, yeah, we're very happy about that. That's Sunday, May 4th at 4 p.m. at the Capitol Theater in Rome.
Okay. All right. Very nice.
Okay, and then we have...
I hate to do this, but I got to get you tighter on the mic. I can't hear you.
Okay.
You got to literally
Is this
lean
better?
into it. That's
Yes,
better. Yeah.
so much better.
Yeah.
So then we have on May 9th, we are playing at the, well, we meaning Joe and my other Joe, because I have two Joes.
Yeah.
Joe Handy, Joe Furlow, and myself. We're playing with the trio at the Rome Arts and Community
And
Center.
with the trio, you do the stand-up bass, right? Is that...
Well, we vary it. So
You
this
do, okay.
this Joe Handy, he plays the guitar. So then it's lead guitar and rhythm guitar.
Okay, cool.
And we
All right.
go back and forth. I stay with my violin and my singing.
Nice. All right.
I just do the melodies. And so yeah, we have this Rome Arts and Community Center gig. It's a dinner that the Delta Lake Inn is giving the food. They're bringing the food
Yep,
to the Rome
okay.
Arts Community Center.
Nice.
The whole thing is 6 o'clock. Yeah, 6 o'clock is the dinner and 7 o'clock is the concert. And you can either do both together for $45 for members or $50 for non-members,
All right.
or the concert only at 7 o'clock for $20.
And their food is really, really good.
It's good food,
Yeah, they
right?
do a great
yeah.
job.
And
so.
this is sponsored by Chris Tech Wire & Co. and the Community Foundation of Herkimer and Oneida Counties.
Love it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful event, Rome Arts Community Center. I love that they're doing stuff there
Yeah,
again. Joe
yeah.
was there last night, in fact, right, Joe?
But you were there.
Oh, he was playing last night.
You were playing last
Yeah,
night.
they have a Monday series.
Nice. Nice. Believe me, I didn't even remember I was here yesterday. So I was here yesterday. I think I was. All right. You want to play? You want to, or do you have something else to
Well,
plug?
we got more coming up. Then on the 10th, a day later, it's CNY on stage live. That's a Rick Lewis thing. We all know
Yeah,
our
that's
Rick
gonna be
Lewis.
big, yeah.
That's going to be big. We're playing
That's
there.
with Showtime, yeah.
Showtime is hosting, and I'll sing a song with them. And then we have our trio again. The Blues Brothers are there, and
Saw that.
so many others.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 10th of. Then we have on the 30th, our trio is playing at Franca's. We love that place. We play there like once every 2 months or so at least.
The music is good, but the food is phenomenal. I mean, the music is phenomenal.
I love the
but
wine.
I love the that place is really good. The wine's good too. Yes.
Yeah, and then in June we're playing at the other side in Utica with Jerry D and the Dovetones, right? And then a couple of other things coming up in June. One of the exciting things, well, this is not open to public, but they have the quantum physics Q41 international, like all these brain crazy people come here.
On Griffiths.
Yeah, and we're doing the music. We're featured musicians. We play a little bit in the morning. It's what is it? It's like 7 o'clock in the morning when they have their first coffee to get the brain nicely activated.
It is unbelievable.
We
what's
play a little
happening
bit
out
of
there.
song for them, and then they do magic.
Breakfast will be yogurt this year. I can guarantee it.
Oh yeah,
yogurt. So, all right, let's play some music here. What do we want to do?
And it is 7:48, by the way, or maybe 7:49 now. But to her point about stimulating the brain with music,
It is
first
important.
thing in the morning.
Yeah, I think that
Oh,
is
so you want
important.
this now? Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
stimulate the brain with a little.
Right. This
little
is
music.
Autumn Leaves, also known as Le Feuille Morte, the original version, and we are singing it in French and a little bit of English, and a little bit of violin, a little bit of guitar. Here we go.
All right, here we go.
Je voudrais donc que tu te souviennes des jours heureux où nous étions d'amis. Mais sans la vie était plus belle et le soleil plus brûlant qu'aujourd'hui. Le feu immense ramasse l'appel. Tu vois, je n'ai pas oublié. Le feu immense ramasse l'appel. Les souvenirs et les rires aussi. Et le vent du nord les emporte dans la nuit froide de l'oubli. Tu vois, je n'ai pas oublié la chanson que tu m'as chantée. C'est une chanson qui nous rassemble. Toi, tu m'aimais et je t'aimais. Nous vivions tous les deux ensemble. Toi qui m'aimais, moi qui t'aimais. Mais la vie sépare ceux qui s'aiment tout doucement, sans faire de bruit. La mer efface sur le sable les pas des amants désunis. Since you went away, the days grow long, and soon I'll hear old winter song. But I miss you most of all, my darling. When autumn leaves start to
Wow, that is really, really nice.
Thank you.
And I didn't mean to be distracting as I was trying to get Jeff's attention. His head was in the way of
My
the camera.
big head was blocking the YouTube
And
shot. But fortunately, I did not block out that beautiful
That was
voice.
wonderful.
That was
Thank
so
you.
amazing.
Thank you.
I feel like I don't know if you realize it, but I actually downed 2 baguettes during that whole thing. So,
What?
you know
French
what
bread.
you do in France.
Oh.
You'd have a baguette. Or whatever.
Need a coffee au lait with it.
All right, you want to do one more?
Wow.
That was really, really very nice.
Okay.
And Joe, phenomenal work on the guitar.
All right,
Beautiful.
This one is a bossa. And it is written by Dorado Schmidt. And
Okay.
it's a gypsy bossa. So we play there like the 1940s chanson.
yeah.
You heard that. And then like the gypsy music of Django Reinhardt. And that's where Joe is an absolute pro in that field. And so we started to play the music of that. Right?
Yeah, yeah. And this particular, he's still with us, Dorado Schmidt, in the style of
Okay.
the old Django
Got it. All right, here we go. By the way, this is Julianne Price and Joe Furlow from Rome. And we've got them on camera on YouTube so you can see. All right, here we go, guys. Love it. Great job. Great stuff. Wow. So where will you be next?
Well, we play the next time we play, and that's that really nice gig, is at the Rome Arts Community Center on May 9th at 6 p.m. dinner, and at 7 p.m. the concert with the trio.
Okay.
And that's $45 for members and $50 for non-members. You get the dinner with it. I mean, alone for a dinner at the Delta Lake Inn, you pay that much.
You're right.
You know?
That's
it's
a great thing. Everything
after.
goes
You got
along
the
with
atmosphere. It's gorgeous there.
Very
They
nice.
do a great job.
All right.
But the next thing exciting coming up is Joe getting inducted. That's this. But we're not performing there.
And that's on Sunday.
Yeah, that's on
Okay.
Sunday. I think the Rome Free Academy Show Choir Rhapsody is performing. That's at the Capitol
Okay, that's
Theater,
cool.
so, yeah.
Joe, congratulations on that.
Yes.
It's a great honor. So, and Julianne, wonderful job.
Thank you very
Great
much.
job.
Thanks for having us.
We appreciate it. We'll break quickly and come back here at WIBX.
Now through May 31st, get up to $140 back by mail on a Bridgestone prepaid MasterCard. Get $70 when you buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires. Get an additional $70 when you make an eligible tire purchase with your CFNA credit card. Subject to credit approval, restrictions apply. See Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com or bridgestonerewards.com for details.
Ferris commercial mowers set the bar with racing-inspired patented full suspension and integrated cutting decks so you can go faster, cut better, and not get beat up. Ferris Experience Suspension. Take advantage of the best financing and prices of the year. Visit us at whitesfarmsupply.com.
We're the power in power equipment. White's Farm Supply.
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, on the phone line right now is Samantha Colosimo Testa, and there was a vote the other night, and it did not go by the way of eliminating the deputy fire chief situation. Samantha's on the line now. Good morning.
Good morning. And just to clarify, it's the assistant chief.
Assistant chief. The assistant chief.
There's still four
Correct.
chiefs.
My
and then you have a
apologies.
fire
Yep.
chief.
Okay, so obviously it was you and Carcone who voted for this. Everybody else voted against, so it was bipartisan. What are your thoughts?
So here's the thing, and I'll give you a little background to how this came about. So after a couple weeks ago, and I sent you the messages so that you had them.
Yep.
I received some information that Mayor Galimi was sending messages to people that the Common Council cut the budget, and we're in budget constraints, and this is the problem and issue why we can't enforce codes and so on and so forth. So one of the things that came about was 1203 and ROP inspections through the fire department during the budget discussion, so on and so forth. So when I got that, I sent an email to the city clerk's office, and I said, hey, can you do me a favor? I said, can you put this legislation in? I said, let everybody know it's to have a discussion with codes, it's to have a discussion for ROP inspections, so on and so forth. I get an email from the mayor the next couple of days. There's a TikTok video that's made that says this is all retaliatory, so on and so forth. Now, in the meantime, I have no idea anything that anybody's talking about. Supposedly, there was a letter that was sent to the president of the union stating that his leave was going to get terminated. I don't even know the ins and outs of that.
Yeah.
I ended up finding out that it was like 7 days later, after I presented the legislation, that his leave got denied, which had nothing to do, again, with the legislation that was being presented. So once I get an email, it's from the mayor's office and the corporation council, basically stating that the assistant chief's position couldn't be eliminated unless the position was vacant. You eliminated $3.6 million out of the ambulance service, and you cut 50 jobs from the fire department. So I'm going back and I'm thinking, we're looking at budget constraints. In the past 4 years, the assistant chief's position has increased in salary about $40,000. So back in like 2020, it was at $104,000. As it currently stands, it's about $140-something thousand.
Yeah.
So, in discussions, I'm thinking to myself, what has increased in job descriptions that, the pay increased that much. So that was kind of another reason that I chose the assistant chief's position, because I'm kind of like, what are the duties and responsibilities that we have? So in the meantime, as I find out that this contract was signed back in 2019 from the previous administration, at the time Mayor Galimi was the council president on the board of ENA. He sponsored that legislation, and Councilman Lomenico was on the council. When they sat on the board of ENA, they approved this contract that basically eliminated the powers of the council. So I'm trying to summarize this very, very briefly, because this is like an ongoing issue that have happened over a 3-week span. So if you have any questions, please stop me.
Okay.
So after I send the email, and now I'm thinking to myself, well, why would there be a no elimination clause for the chief and the assistant chief? Like, what transpired that you would include that in the contract? Like, I think we have a fine police chief. I think we have a fine deputy chief for the police department. Why didn't they get those same stipulations? Now, what it ends up doing is it ends up taking away the powers of the Common Council. So I call for a meeting. This meeting was scheduled for 2 weeks. We invited the chief. We invited the assistant chief. We invited the public safety commissioner. We invited, members, anybody that wanted to attend the meeting, including the union president and their attorney. The only people that showed up on that Monday meeting was the president of the union and the fire chief. And I think when you heard him on your radio show, they said that the fire chief went in and he stated that, after the vote of no confidence, he was going to go in and he was going to have discussions, and none of that's happened. So my whole thing is, why wouldn't you show up to the meeting on Monday if you had nothing to hide and you had a solution and you had some reasoning that you didn't want this position eliminated and you were fighting for it? I would assume that you would have showed up on that Monday meeting.
Yeah.
So anyways, during this whole discussion too, there was an ongoing suit between the Utica Paid Firemen's Relief Association and the union.
Yeah.
Over funds that were there and so on and so forth. So in all this discussion that's coming up, I find out that the assistant chief was represented by members of the corporation council during this ongoing lawsuit. At the same time, and they were paid, I think, close to like $90,000 in that suit, and there were a number of members of corporation council that took that representation. I find out that this contract was also signed. All right, and that was around the year of 2021. So again, I wasn't on the council. I didn't know any of this was going on.
Yep.
So in Monday's discussion, and even following Wednesday's discussion, each council person had a different perspective on what they felt was right, what they didn't feel was right, and that's all fine and dandy. The reason that it was pulled out of committee was they said it was retaliatory. Now my question is, why would the council not would be okay? And again, this is under the previous administration. Right. So if you look at who pulled it out of the committee, I mean, there's still a a D next to their name, okay?
Yep.
And I think that they wanted to squash that discussion because how are you comfortable moving on something when you don't even have a discussion publicly with the chief or the assistant chief in regards to these positions? So make a long story short, in that discussion, we were told that possibly there was a reason that they didn't want to come down and have this discussion publicly because it could be used against them in court if this legislation were to pass, and the administration would bring us there. So that to me was just a red flag in itself. I'm okay with the legislation being defeated because, number one, if you looked at the email that the mayor sent, they said, and the chief sent, they were okay with eliminating the chief fire marshal. They looked at from another standpoint, there was a possibility for an administrative chief position. My problem is that, again, you don't have a discussion with the rest of the council.
Right.
I had no idea they were pulling it out of committee and voting it down. But we had the assistant chief and the chief at the table. No one asked questions. I mean, it's just, again, it seems like they're still trying to protect, what happened in the previous administration because no one had any answers to anything and they were okay with voting on it.
So this vote was bipartisan.
So it wasn't bipartisan to take it out. They wanted to keep it in committee, so that went actually 5-4 because we still did have some discussions. But at the time, no one was comfortable eliminating that position because we didn't have any discussion on it.
Would you be against an independent person, somebody to dig into this situation? Because there's a lot of accusations being made.
There is, and like I said, this all came out in a memo that we received from the mayor after I put this legislation in.
Would you support that?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, here's the thing. We also have budget constraints, so I'm not going to go and put the city on a $60,000 bill for something that, wouldn't even have an outcome because, again, you still have the majority protecting it. And we did have that discussion, Bill, about possibly seeking further action if we were to pass this in legal courts. And again, why would a majority of people that are protecting and were there at the time that all these contracts were signed and actually signed the contract and approved the contract incriminate their own selves?
Right. Okay.
So again, you go back to that problem of that's the issue that we have.
But if
I personally, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
All right.
Because sometimes you got to get some answers. And what bothers me is that the council's sole responsibility is the complement of the fire department and the police department. What you're telling me now is I don't have that authority anymore.
Yeah.
And if you read the contract, it said that there's legislative intent, and it says that the contract is not fully void, it will be voided or something along those lines. That if there was no legislation passed to eliminate the powers of the common council, how do you add that in a contract?
Right. Okay.
So if you go back and you think about, it was a couple of years ago that the police department wanted the residency requirement waived, and the previous mayor had sent down legislation stating that the residency requirement waiver should have been in there in order for it to be in the contract. Now that couldn't be put into the contract, not having a residency requirement for the police department, unless the council eliminated that or voted to eliminate that because that was in their purview. So this happened very similar. And what I find ironic is that not one person on the council, I mean, even the council person that sponsored it said, I don't remember signing that contract.
Right.
No one knew that there was no elimination clause. So, you go
from the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome, W295EI, WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.